Do you really believe that garbage?
It's not about believing, it's a matter of fact.
So you believe.
Well, nobody else can make a decision but me because I was the president. The final decision comes to the president.
You know, it's easy enough for a Monday morning quarterback to say what the coach should have done after the game's over. But when the decision is up before you, and on my desk I have a motto which says the buck stops here, the decision has to be made.
And so, my fellow Americans, ask not what your country can do for you. Ask what you can do for your country.
And I want to say this to the television audience. I made my mistakes, but in all of my years of public life, I have never profited from public service. I've earned every cent. And in all of my years of public life, I have never obstructed justice. And I think, too, that I could say that in my years of public life, that I welcome this kind of examination because people have got to know whether or not their president's a crook. Well, I'm not a crook. I've earned everything I've got.
President?
Yep.
Mr. President, I want to raise an issue that I think you've been lurking out there for 2 or 3 weeks and casting specifically in national security terms. You already are the oldest president in history, and some of your staff say you were retired after your most recent encounter with Mr. Mondale. I recall yet that President Kennedy had to go for days on end with very little sleep during the Cuba Missile Crisis. Is there any doubt in your mind that you would be able to function in such circumstances?
Not at all, Mr. Truitt, and I want you to know that also I will not make age an issue of this campaign. I am not going to exploit for political purposes my opponent's youth and inexperience.
And I'm the one who will not raise taxes. My opponent now says he'll raise them as a last resort or a third resort. But when a politician talks like that, you know that's one resort he'll be checking into. And my opponent won't rule out raising taxes, but I will, and the Congress will push me to raise taxes, and I'll say no. And they'll push, and I'll say no. And they'll push again, and I'll say to them, read my lips. No new taxes.
Oh, shit. Here we go again.
You're full of shit.
All right, thank you.
No, shush. Shush.
MD20.
Peace. What's going on? What's happening? MD's Thought Box. What's going on, everybody? I hope everybody had a wonderful day. Wonderful day. I hope you was able to spend time with family and friends. I'm going to ask you the last question. Who are you?
What you mean? Who am I?
To whom in which I'm speaking with right now.
You gonna turn around and tell that man?
Red alert. All hands stand.
Now you want to play victim? You know what you done.
I'm no victim. I ain't no victim
Warning.
at all.
Warning.
No,
everything I said, I take.
I know you're not no
choice.
Warning. Nigga babble detected.
No, you're not no victim because you done what you done. You used that man's channel to get at me.
System overload.
We gone.
What I'm talking about! That's why he's the MVP! That's why he's the GOAT! The GOAT!
But to any event, peace. What's up? Can everybody hear me out there in YouTube land? Can everybody hear me? You know what I'm saying? Because we still gonna get it in. We still gonna get it in for today's topic. We definitely gonna do that. You know what I'm saying? Somebody give me a green light. You know what I'm saying? As you can see, I'm in the thought box. You know what I'm saying? Now I will say, as always, man, the doors of the church for MD's Thought Box Live is open.
MD 20.
In any country, prison is where society sends its failures. But in this country, society itself is failing.
I'd like to punch him in the face, I'll tell you.
We won the evangelicals. We won with young. We won with old. We won with highly educated. We won with poorly educated. I love the poorly educated.
Look at you crazy.
Grab him by the pussy.
I did not have sexual relations with that woman.
Shut your mouth, because you don't know what you're talking about. Yes, I did.
Hold it, tough guy. I'm not afraid of physical. Hold it.
Don't sit there and tell me I'm not.
There's an old saying in Tennessee, I know it's in Texas, probably in Tennessee, that says, fool me once, shame on you. You fool me, we can't get fooled again.
They're bringing drugs. They're bringing crime. They're rapists. And some, I assume, are good people. Stand back and stand by. Will you shut up?
Last thing was Olivia Gondak. It says that I want to eat her pussy. Olivia Gondak. I've never said that in my life tour. I would never do that. I'm happily married. I've got more than enough to eat at home. Thank you very much.
You got to come see us when you come to New York, VP Biden.
I will.
It's a long way until November. We got more questions.
You got more questions, but I tell you, if you have a problem figuring out whether you're for me or Trump, then you ain't black.
Okay. I could stand in the middle of Fifth Avenue and shoot somebody, and I wouldn't lose any voters, okay? It's like incredible. I went to an Ivy League school. I'm very highly educated. I know words. I have the best words. We now have a gun on every table. We're ready to start shooting.
By the way, maybe you could inject some bleach in your arm, and that would take care of it. This is the same man.
Sarcastic.
That was...
Even though they're trying to impeach the son of a bitch. Can you believe that? You believe that? That's enough. Put down the mic.
Mr. President, are you worried about indictments coming down in this
I'd like to
investigation?
punch him in the face, I'll tell you.
If I may ask
Peter,
one other
go ahead.
question, are you worried?
That's enough. That's
Mr.
enough.
President, I was going to ask one other.
I don't want reality. I'm asking the question, which one is better? That's exactly what it is.
Got it on tape.
What a stupid son of a bitch.
I don't like words that hide the truth. I don't like words that conceal reality. I don't like euphemisms or euphemistic language. And American English is loaded with euphemisms because Americans have a lot of trouble dealing with reality. Americans have trouble facing the truth. So they invent a kind of a soft language to protect themselves from it. And it gets worse with every generation. For some reason, it just keeps getting worse.
How stupid are these politicians to allow this to happen?
want to run your mouth, we can be two consenting adults. We can finish it here.
Okay, that's fine. Perfect.
You want to do it now?
I'd love to do it right now.
Well, stand your butt up then.
You stand your butt up.
Oh, hold on.
Big guy.
Oh, stop it.
Is that your solution every poll?
No, sit down. Sit down. Look at you.
You're saying it's a falsehood, and they're giving Sean Spicer, our press secretary, gave alternative facts. Alternative facts. Alternative facts. Alternative facts.
Saudi Arabia and Russia will repeat your.
I ain't talking politics. I'm talking life.
I ain't talking politics, I'm talking life.
All right. Here we go. Here we go once again for another episode of TFP, Tape Fist Politics. And this week's episode is number 54, TFP 54, and it is Obama's message to black men. Do you agree or disagree? Momentarily, we're waiting for the panel to arrive on the show in just a moment. But before we get to the panel, just going to do a quick rundown of what we're covering today. Obama's message to black men, that is the subject of the show. But we weren't here last week for an episode of Tape Fist Politics. We took a hiatus last week, so we didn't get a lame duck for last week. So we're going to have two ducks. We're going to hit two birds with one stone, two lame ducks today. So it should be an eventful day. We're also going to take a look at some different stats and all kinds of interesting things in this political season. One thing we're all going to also look at is a clip from last night's Man Talk Monday, which featured Trevor, the Mr. Straight Talk, with his panel. And in particular, we'll be looking at Mike. Mike is always right. Mike is right. M-I-R, Mike. Murr. And we're gonna take a look at that footage, and we'll also give our thoughts on that. But as we're talking right now, I do have my panelists up on the panel right now. The world's most dangerous crew, world's most dangerous political panel. We have Ricardo. Ricardo, what's going on?
What it do? I'm here. What's going on, Sir Van Cat Extraordinaire? We're in the house here for another week. Up to the Negro to the rescue.
Up to the Negro to the rescue. All right. Thank you, Ricardo. And of course, we have the political prophet amongst mere mortal men, MD20. What's going on, MD?
Peace, what's going on? What's happening, man? In the end, there can only be one. He is MD McLeod, the Highlander. What's going on?
All right. All right. So we are here to specifically talk about Obama's finger wagging or perceived finger wagging, because some people don't see anything wrong with this. Other people, they're kind of iffy. So let's take a look at the footage, and then we'll start off giving our thoughts on what we think here. So we'll catch it on the other end.
I'm going to go ahead and just speak some truths, if you don't mind. Yes. Because my understanding, based on reports I'm getting from campaigns and communities, is that we have not yet seen the same kinds of energy and turnout in all quarters of our neighborhoods and communities as we saw when I was running. Now, I also want to say that seems to be more pronounced with the brothers. So if you don't mind, just for a second, I'm going to speak to y'all directly and say that when you have a choice that is this clear, when on the one hand you have somebody who grew up like you, knows you, went to college with you, understands the struggles and pain and joy that comes from those experiences, who's had to work harder and do more and overcome and achieves the second highest office in the land and is putting forward concrete proposals to directly address the things that are vital in our neighborhoods and our communities, from housing to making sure that our mothers and our fathers and our grandparents can afford medicine, and making sure that we are dealing with prices that are too high and rents that are too high, and are committed to making sure that we maintain the Affordable Care Act, so everybody's got health care, and cares about things like education and entrepreneurship in our neighborhoods. And that's on one side. And on the other side, you have someone who has consistently shown disregard, not just for the communities, but for you as a person. And you're thinking about sitting out? I'm not. But, you know, because of Pookie might be. And you're coming up with all kinds of reasons and excuses. I've got a problem with that. Because part of it makes me think, and I'm speaking to men directly now, part of it makes me think that, well, you just aren't feeling the idea of having a woman as president. And you're coming up with other alternatives and other reasons for that. And I think anybody you are talking to in a barbershop, anybody you are talking to in your house, in your family, at church, who is coming with that kind of attitude, I think you have to ask them, well, how can that be? Because the women in our lives have been getting our backs this entire time. They've been raising us and working and having our backs. And when we get in trouble and the system's not working for us, They're the ones who were out there marching and protesting. And so now you're thinking about sitting out or even supporting somebody who has a history of denigrating you because you think that's a sign of strength, because that's what being a man is, putting women down. That's not acceptable. That's not, this shouldn't even be a question.
Okay, there we go. There's a video that has sparked a lot of controversy, especially on social media. Many people have many sides to it. I'm asking the question: was it was it fair what Obama said? Was it wrong what Obama said? So I'm just going to go to the panel. We'll start with Ricardo. Ricardo, what do you think?
Oh boy. All right. Let me get real frank and get settled up into my political talk here. Yeah, so listening to the speech, I will say this. Obama was coming from a good place. He's coming in with the intentions of letting everybody know, hey, this is something it's kind of like you can't ignore the signs, like it's there. And I just want black men to know that we're in a dire situation here. It's not like one of those things where we could like try to play this off or whatnot. We're just gonna go in and have a discussion. Where he went wrong, I feel, is it felt like I'm trying to say this in a very nice way. I'm trying to be giving him the benefit of the doubt. He kind of went into it like a lecturing stance where it was like I wouldn't say uncle, but more like I would say even older, like more mature personnel saying to like the younger folks, hey, this is how this is being perceived, and I don't understand why you guys can't do this, and I'm talking to y'all, and why is it that you can't do this for black women? It was kind of like why come off so preachy, because in a sense you wouldn't do that to everybody else that's collectively in the Democratic Party. And this has always been my issue with the Democratic Party. I feel like they just segment pick what they feel is necessary down to the dire moment, and that shouldn't be the case. We all know that politically money is the main factor that the party uses, and they called out for it even by CNN and various news sources during the whole giving Kamala the nominations. But that's a whole different topic for another time and space. But yeah, it came out very preachy, very lecturally, very finger wagging down to the very finer detailment. And I think a lot of people, it rubbed a lot of black men the wrong way. Now, is he wrong in terms of how he articulated it? Yes, and kind of no. I feel like he could have done it a little bit better, but I get where he's coming from, and I also get the other side of it, of the black man's stance of why or how dare you say to us that why are we not going in all the way in for a woman, and is this more of an alpha male thing, or is this a manosphere thing, or if this is a like we're doing barbershop talk, like in any instance, black men will always talk in the barbershop talk stance, because that's where we're free to express ourselves in a collective, cohesive group settings. Like even here at TFP, we have certain conversations where people will be like, "Oh, they're very comfortable." Yes, we are, because what are we afraid of? Like, we should be able to speak comfortably, because we're talking about certain political stance or subjects of the day that will affect us all. So why not? Like, we wouldn't be given the media more space to do so anywhere else. So we're glad to be able to do so. So I feel like if he had done it a little bit more softer, maybe a little bit more smoother and transitional wise, it maybe wouldn't have created the backlash that it did, but it's already done. You can either come out and double down on it, or he could either come out and say, hey, maybe it might have come out harsh, come off a little bit harsh, but it's coming from a place where I need y'all to understand the dire situation of this and where it's gonna lead to. And I don't want to hear y'all complain afterwards once you made a decision. And take it or leave it. That's how it should be. But I digress. We'll see how this works out. But the firestorm of it has already created a controversial backlash, and how we move forward from this, how we progress from here, we'll see. We are like week 3 now before the election, so let's see how it goes.
All right, thanks, Ricardo. MD, you've seen the video. What are your thoughts on what Obama said, how he said it, and anything in between?
Yeah, well, to the question of, did he say it, within a good place? No, he didn't, because he said it in the wrong place. And the messaging was horrible. Despite whether it was true or not, the messaging was horrible. Context is everything. I'm a very logical person. Everybody know that. I don't think in a linear sense. I got to look at all objective obstacles that are placed in front of me in a particular situation. He was speaking at a campaign office full of Kamala support. That's very important to pick out. But a lot of these MAGA maniacs, a lot of these red pillars and niggas for Trumps clearly was going to take that out of context, despite the actual context or not. Second thing, I'll say this before I continue. I don't know, and I said this last week, I don't know if that video was from a news camera. I don't believe it was, based on the fact that there was no directional mic. There was a lot of ambient noise, you know what I'm saying? Obama sounded like he was in the background. I'm going to assume, like I said, I could be wrong. I'm going to assume that was cell phone footage with somebody record while he was talking. If that's the case, and I'm the campaign manager at that particular satellite office, I'm firing that person. Why? Because you didn't get the full context of what he was saying. Now, put 2 and 2 together. He's speaking to a bunch of campaign workers at a campaign office. He's talking about strategy. What do we need to do to garner more support when you're going out knocking on doors, whatever the situation may be? We did not get that full context. That's the only pass that I give Obama in this particular situation. The fact of the matter is, you said what you said based on data that you clearly know from being a previous president. Now let's look into this retrospectively. 2008, Obama got, we just talking about black men. And this is me ballparking it. I don't have it in front of me because I'm driving, but I seen it earlier. Obama got upwards of 95% of the black male vote in 2008. In 2012, and y'all know what happened to that same black male vote.
I believe it went down.
It went
down. It went to it went into the mid to high 80s.
Yes, it went.
What the hell are we talking about?
Which is kind of similar to what Kamala has now. It's like 78 to 85%.
No, do we need to say any more, Venkat?
They're making this bigger than what it really is.
Exactly. and that's the whole point. Obama is placating to a specific stereotype toward black men in the current environment that we live in, which is even worse in my opinion. Why even give it credit if you know it's minuscule to what the actual numbers are going to be come election day with black men? Again, I've said it before. Trevor done said it. This is the final battle, but the final battle don't consist of all men, nor does it consist of all women. This is a very fringe group of Negroes, fringe, that are making this hoopla about this current situation. And it goes even before this situation. It goes from when Kamala first stepped into the arena of being the candidate. This was bound to happen. Ain't nothing you could do to stop it. I'm sorry. There's a certain level of misogyny based on what? How society is perceived in this current time. Until we break the chain, I don't give a damn how much you campaign, what you do. It's always going to be like this. That's just a fact. In that regard, when it comes to the misogynistic aspect, I don't believe in totality it's about misogyny. No, but it's a big chunk. It's a huge chunk. The other fact is of this false notion of being on the Democratic. It don't matter who the candidate is. Being on the Democratic plantation, and for the most part, Republicans view black men as leading the charge with that aspect. I don't care how you go out and strategize from a campaign standpoint. That should have been done behind closed doors because technically it was. It was in the campaign office. No news cameras or nothing was there. If I was the manager of that particular satellite office, I'm firing that person because of what we're going through right now. That don't mean that I don't agree or disagree or I'm indifferent. That ain't got nothing to do with it. It's the fact that the messaging behind what was going on in a strategic meeting with a former president of the United States should have been put in full context, and it wasn't. I'm pretty sure after that video, after they hit stop on that video, they talked about strategies in order to garner those very groups of people. I bet you they did, because that's what campaigns do. Matter of fact, hell, a couple of days after that, Kamala come out with this quote unquote economic plan for black males. Where the hell that come from? These people know what they're doing. So the fact that you basically showed the play allowed a lot of these MAGA pundits to do what they did over the weekend. And that's not good in regards to how the campaign needs to flow. That's just a fact. So in the aspect of what Obama did, it was stupid. It was stupid. Knowingly or unknowingly being recorded saying what you said. And doing it in a very stereotypical way. Go ahead.
Do you think that Obama, by this whole situation, do you think it may have legitimized a lot of the very fake attempts that Trump has been showing us in the last several weeks and months with the golden shoes and
yes,
black people can relate with me because we've been to jail.
I got a mugshot. I got booked in.
You know, like
what's the difference? What's the difference, Van Cat? What's the difference between what Obama said and what Trump did?
For pandering, though, that's all that is.
So that was a huge misstep. This close to the election, and people are already voting. I already voted, and people are voting today. Georgia has like
Georgia was today
a historic day,
a historic day for first day voting.
Yeah,
you know, I wasn't able to. I'll be voting next week. I'll be off next week. I'll be voting. I wasn't be able to be a part of history today, but yes, I saw it. Historic day.
So you have this major misstep, and there's not much time to try to clean it up or make it be forgotten.
You can't do it. Yeah, you just gotta lick your wound.
Exactly. So some people could have that on their minds going into the voting booth. That is very problematic right there. What happened? That was very problematic, and I don't even think they should have gone there with it.
But the only before we move on, the only issue with the whole pandering thing is somehow we blame that on the politicians when that's not the politicians' fault. You know what I'm saying?
They wouldn't do it if it didn't work.
Yeah, I agree with that. But the reasoning behind them doing it is not their fault. How if you're a person that's trying to sell something and it's a very specific way in which you sell it to a specific person, how are you going to get mad at the person that's selling it? You don't do that.
When it drives results.
Exactly. So if you're upset in how politicians handle certain demographics, I would argue that you would need to tell that specific demographic to tighten their shit up. What else you want me to say? You know what I'm saying? If
I
Trump
agree with that.
can buy your vote with gold shoes and mugshots,
Wow.
while on the other hand, Obama can buy your vote by basically chastising you. Hey, that's a you problem. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
That's a you problem. That ain't the politician's fault because that's what you fall for.
Well, they go Trevor. Free Popeyes with every black vote.
Yeah, pretty much.
No, bump that, shake that ass, so we can all see. Throw them dollar bills, so we
But
can.
did Trump literally do that though? Because remember that time he was at Chick-fil-A and he bought everybody in the room Chick-fil-A, but whatever.
Love that chicken from Popeyes.
All right. So let's continue on with this story then. So yesterday on Man Talk Monday, we had Big Mike. Mike came on, he gave his thoughts, and he did it the Mikeest way possible. Let's take a look back at that video, and we'll be on the other end.
Previously on Straight Talk Society.
What's your thoughts on first what Obama said, and then secondly, how does the sister? Because this is clearly what Wayne would call mommy politics. That's why I wish Wayne was here right now.
Can you hear me?
Oh yeah.
Okay, no, thanks, because I'm backstage. I apologize, sir. I normally follow your directions very well, but I can feel how I'm going to react, so I'm going to do it a little backwards. I would like to thank the young lady. I think it's very rare that anybody stands up for black men and for our rights and for our voice. I would like to thank her immensely. And you could see the chick who was the host couldn't wait to try to jump in to like knock it down. Like, no, but don't you think it's and shut up. She's defending who she defends. Let it be. It is what it is. So thank you, sister. I love you and I wish the best for you, and please be more contagious. Now let me get on Obama. First, I would like to say I am not voting for Trump. Okay. It's not because, and I'm not voting for Kamala because I love women and those politics don't make it for me. I'm not voting for Trump because he's a white man. That's not what it is. I believe in who's going to do a better job. That's what I care about. I don't believe that a bunch of men are sitting around going, well, she got a vagina, she can't lead me. I honestly, wholeheartedly believe women are more sexist against women than men are. But I digress. That's not the point I want to go to. I don't even care about that. I said that to say this. If Obama cared enough about us as black men, he should have did something when he was in office. That's one. He should have did something for us because we were his second biggest constituency. His second. Black women were first. We'll give it to him, but we were right behind him. Mugs. He didn't do. Apparently, he must the only black men he seemed to care about all wore wigs and said "child boo." That's the only ones he seemed to care about. Secondly, don't try to act like you
talk to them niggas, man.
You know what I'm saying? I don't want to hear it. Don't try to act like you give a damn. You don't pop up to give a damn to talk to black people until your lineage is being attacked because it's the next black person in line. That's when you jump up to say something. Sit your old ass down. I'm gonna tell you like this. I got 2 words for you, Obama. 2 words. Bill Cosby. Okay? Bill Cosby was living a charmed life until he sat his goofy ass up and started telling black America what they need to do and who they need to be. Started telling people, you're gonna raise your kid like this and you're gonna do this like this. A year later, he was in jail. Because when you lose black people as a backing, you realize white people will attack you. So Obama, sit your old ass down. You got through your presidency, you got you a baddie wife. Go talk to your kids, keep them off the pole, and go sit your ass down. They don't need to see you. This ain't about you. Because I could easily say you're trying to play the black superhero man coming in to save the little black girl who can't do it herself. Ain't nobody asked you to stand up. She a grown-ass woman. And if she's a president, I don't want her waiting around for you and Clinton to hop up to save her life. If she is the commander-in-chief, that is who she is. Let her do the talking. I'm sick and tired of all these people talking for this black woman. All my life, and I know it's the color purple line, but all my life, I had to hear how black women are emotionally intelligent. All my life, I had to hear how black women know how to communicate. But now that a black woman's supposed to be the commander in chief, she can't say nothing. She hushed up in the back room. I'm gonna let my big brother talk. I don't want to hear that. Sit your old gray hair ass down and let that grown ass woman talk. Stop infantiling who's supposed to be the next president. I don't want to hear from you. You don't get to tell me what I feel, what I believe, or what I want on my choice. Okay? Just like the Republicans they don't get to tell me what the hell I'm gonna do either. None of you do. I don't know who the hell you think you are. Because I voted for you, you get to tell me how to live my life. But matter of fact, Obama, am I allowed to bust a nut today? Can I, sir? Can I? Who the hell you think you are? If you cared
No, you're
about us,
not.
you wouldn't. If you cared about us, you would have been sitting your punk ass down drinking beers with racist cops. You would have had your ass up, making sure there was no off button on the damn cameras that they wear. But you didn't because you couldn't think past trying to pander to the other side. If you thought about it, we would have single payer instead of this bullshit Affordable Care Act. You would have stood your ass up like a man and said, we ain't moving forward until this goes through, and then did something gangster to them Republicans. You had the House, you had the Senate, you had the presidency. You did nothing when you were there. You sat around, let them call you a bone through the nose punk, and you didn't do shit. So I don't want to hear nothing from you now. We're done with the 8 years of Obama. Sit your ass in the corner like Bill Clinton, get a Coke and a smile and a saxophone ring, and shut your ass up. That's how I personally feel. I don't know who you think you are. I'm a grown-ass man. You think I lived on this planet 40-something years and I don't know how to think for myself? I promise you, it works. My brain works. I don't need you to tell me what to do. Especially when you're probably getting told what to do by your wife. Go sit your ass in the corner. Let grown men do. We got grown man stuff to do. I ain't listening to you. You ain't my daddy. You ain't my mom. How about that? And I digress.
All right. There we go. Mike is right. And speaking of Mike, well, I'm not saying he's right. I'm just saying his catchphrase.
No, I'm right. I'm right.
So we got Mike on the panel. So, Mr. Mike, what's your thoughts on the issue we're talking about and some of the things you said yesterday?
Let me first state, I have always wanted something I said to have that ending with the dude who used to say you're a victim, that guy. I've always wanted something I said to have that ending, and you've given me that. I thank you, sir. I don't know where I got to send the cash app for the love, but thank you, sir. I thoroughly appreciate it. That was amazing. I stand by everything that angry individual said. Uh, it is a travesty I don't know. Is that the reverse of pander? That's got to be the reverse of pander, right? Like to forcefully mock a group that you want to
It's
vote
fear
for you.
mongering.
Yeah. Okay. There we go. Thank you, sir. To fear monger. But see, I don't even think it was fear. It was like shame. I felt like he was trying to make us all Cersei Lannister, walking through just shame. You're not gonna vote for the black woman. Shame. It's like what? Like I don't. Where was this for Hillary? I didn't hear any of this for Hillary. Where's this for Hillary? Oh, it only counts when it's a black woman, right? Oh, okay.
That's
Yeah,
right.
this is clown. It's clown buffoonery. You don't get to dictate to me what I'm doing. You don't get to tell me that the only reason that a lot of these men are not voting for her is because she's a woman. I understand that that's the prevailing thing now. Oh, you hate women, that's why you won't vote for her. All right, so did the black men who didn't vote for Obama hate black men? So where was this outrage for the black men? Oh, it's only for the black. See,
But
when you start,
Mike,
go ahead, go ahead.
does that have any validity? Is there any reality in the fact that some of these black men aren't voting for her because she's a woman?
Sir, there are some white men that won't vote for her because she's black. There's white women that won't vote for her because she's a woman. There's black women that won't vote for her because she's a woman. Why are black men being singled out?
Because black men.
Human beings are pieces of trash.
Yeah,
That's
but
what we are.
if Bubba down the road hit me with a 2x4, it's a little different than when your mother hits you with a 2x4.
Yes, the mother hit hurts more, right?
Yeah.
Right. But I don't but guess what? Who gets to yell at their mom and say, "Mom, you're a piece of trash because you hit me with a 2x4," or do you shut up and go wash the dishes? Exactly, because I'm gonna need mom later on in life. I'm gonna need mom during the next voting cycle. You don't alienate people who are part of your base. That makes no sense. It makes no sense. No matter how racist, no matter how homophobic the Republican MAGAs or whatever, however they get, you never hear them go, "Oh, well, we've got to cut these people out. Look at this. I can't believe they're the bottom of the barrel, racist, hating on black." You don't hear that. They smooth act like they don't hear the race baiting. They smooth act like they don't hear the hatred coming out of them. They'll be like, hey. Matter of fact, in my lifetime, I've only heard one person stand up against racism, and I think it was what's the guy who had the arms that didn't raise up?
Who had the what?
The arm he was running for
McCain.
president. McCain. And I
Oh,
think McCain was running against Obama, and this woman was like, "Yeah, he's a Muslim and he's a terrorist." And he was like, "Whoa, ma'am, no,
Yeah.
he was not." And as soon as he did that, all the white people were like, "He's not a real Republican."
But he stood for something though.
But he stood. That's
Yes.
that's my point. You can't stand for something in politics. So I don't know why they're trying to act like they have a moral high ground. You don't, Obama. You don't have the moral high ground. You don't.
wait a minute. Hold on. So Trevor's saying, Venkat, you're reaching with that one. How?
Yeah.
Wait a minute.
Yeah,
Hold on.
I don't get that. And is it was it
Wait.
really Obama?
Hold
Okay,
on. Wait a
go
minute.
ahead. Talk. Go
Wait
ahead.
a minute. So black men who should be identified with the black woman more so than a Chinese man, a Chinese woman, a white man, a white woman. All those other groups are farther away from the black woman. And somehow, when I say Bubba hitting you in the back of your neck with a 2x4 isn't going to hit you as hard as your own. Like that, did that really go over the head of this panel right now?
I want to ask you a question.
Somebody explain to me.
I get what
Somebody
you're
explain
saying.
to me.
Yeah, I get what you're saying. I'm not going to use that scenario because I'm saying if you hit me over the head with a 2x4 equally, it's a wrap for you. And I think more broadly, why are you subjugating one group to that? It goes back to that Democratic. You can't deny it, Venkat. It goes back to that idea of being on the Democratic plantation. I don't believe in that. Me personally, I don't believe in that.
Yeah.
But you gave validity to it with what you said. Now, to Mike's point, I don't believe that Obama was intentionally scrutinizing black men. Why? Because it wasn't no camp. I'm telling you, if you're gonna put the blame on anybody, put the blame on that person that was filming and put that out there in that context. And hell, if I'm gonna be with the whole Man Talk Monday vibe, it was probably a black woman that did it. I mean, I'm just be honest. But in all aspects, when we view what was said, despite whether it's true or not, I ain't even going that route. Despite whether it's true or not, if you're not gonna put it in full context, and if you're not gonna specify the reason behind what you're saying, it's all for naught, and it shows scrutiny to that particular demographic that you're saying, black men. You can't deny that.
Mm.
And one more other thing. I find it fun. Now this y'all might not like me for this one. Go back and listen to the beginning of that video. He said some things that were very specific. He said this is a person that grew up with you, went to school with you, blah blah blah. He didn't specify that he was you, but I digress.
You know what? I'm gonna say this and then I'm gonna get out the way because I see Trevor. Once I see the red X, I know he about to go off on one. We say on Man Talk Monday, not a show crossover, Monday 6 p.m. Holla at us. That there is no group of women that separate themselves, that hate, that talk in public, that dookie on, that trash. They're men more than black women. And now when they need us,
Facts.
they not and here's the thing, not that they're coming with their hat in their hand saying, "Hey, we was tripping earlier, my bad, could you come vote?" No, that's not what they did. They doodle on us more and say, what kind of man wouldn't do it? You think that works? You think that works? You think, Van Cat, you think if me and you went to school together and every day I punched you in the face and took your lunch money and now I wanted to be president of the class and you were the deciding vote and I come up to you and go, hey, man, I punch you in the face again and say, nah, go vote for me? You think that's going to work?
Nope.
No. No, they didn't even come over and go, hey, we was tripping. Women just be talking sometimes. We don't really think all of y'all are dusty. My bad. They didn't even say that. They just got a man on super simp pander time to talk more trash about us. Word? Word? Okay.
But
Guess what? Guess what? If you want to see a group of men not ride for women, this is the way to do it. So keep on going. Keep on
to
going.
me, I think it's short sighted because you had all these decades and centuries, and this is not seeing the full picture. So we're gonna cozy up with a crusty cracker to
I can destroy that right now, sir. I can
no
destroy
no no
that line
no
of
no
thought.
we're cozying up because I mean, if you hear the stuff, listen to the words that Obama said. You may not like the way it was said
The delivery.
and get butt hurt, but
My butt is fine, sir. My butt is
take
fine.
take what he said in there for face value. There's no inaccuracy about that. Make no mistake about it. It's not like she's going up against Gandhi or anybody that really has your best interest. It's not even on even keel at all. To where it's the difference between Republican and Democrat, and both are even. We know the ulterior motive with Donald Trump, so there is credence to what he's saying.
I'm so
Now
glad you said that, Van Cat.
butthurt on the whole thing. Go
I'm
ahead, Mike.
so glad you said that, Van Cat.
Go ahead.
Do you remember the last time you uttered those bullshit phrases you just uttered?
I don't know what you're talking about. Go ahead.
The whole, what are you gonna do? Vote for that guy? Look at this crusty cracker. It's better than this. It's better. Every blood clot voting cycle, it's the same nonsense. That's why if you I don't think they played the entirety of what I said. If you remember, there was a second part to what I said. The second part was the problem is the Democratic Party putting up shit candidates. That's the problem.
But Mike, that's my point.
No. Don't give me the best of two evils. I don't want
No,
to hear
I'm
it.
not saying that at
You
all.
do
I'm
that all
saying
the time.
no.
Go ahead,
Why are these all of a sudden out the crackerjack box getting the motivation to be political? No, I'm saying people getting politically motivated during this particular time. It makes no goddamn sense. If you were displeased with the party or the candidates the parties are issuing, the time for that is during primaries. That was back in 2021, 2022, 2023. That's when things should have been going down. That time has sailed. Once you get into presidential time, that's what you got, and that's what you got to deal with. That's what being an adult is. You can't just fret and moan about your offerings after you had done nothing up until this point to get us to where we're at right now. And that's the personal responsibility that's completely missing. And this is the other thing. We have these groups that are using these moments for political theater to get attention. But the bottom line is that the black men vote ain't really gonna matter to the degree of what we're talking, and it's the issue right now, but it's not going to even come close to being anything. It's not going to
I agree with that.
anything. Huh?
I agree with that. I said I agree with that.
Yeah, I mean, it's ridiculous.
It's of no impact.
Right. There's no impact. And like, again, if you had real, true aspirations to get better options in this political arena, you would have been all these, and I don't mean just you, Mike. I don't mean you in particular. I mean people in general. They don't know these people's names. They don't know anything going on. You hear people talking about they're trying to figure out who Kamala Harris is. How ridiculous does that sound when she's been vice president? Even if she hadn't said a word as vice president for 4 years, she still ran a whole other race years before. So if you don't know her weeks before this particular election, then there's bigger issues here. So it's a disingenuous argument, and the jackasses that are the black male voters that are somehow, well, I'm very picky and choosy about the way we've been treated, and then you embrace Donald Trump. Like, that's some bull crap. And it's kind of hard for me to well, I have to stay quiet and respect their views because they're emotional and they're fuck that, nigga. What the hell's going on here? Like, I feel like I'm in upside down world. Again, it's Donald Trump and it's a black woman. Have we even had a woman as president? No. This is the most highly decorated political, presidential candidate in the history of presidency. Her resume is way more to back up anything that most men that have had that job have ever done. And yet we're here debating the legitimacy of her qualifications and whatnot. This is ridiculous. I'm sorry. I just had to say my thing. We do have Trevor. Mike, do you want to respond?
I don't see Mike up here no more.
Yeah, let him in. Van Cat, you gotta let back Mike on.
All right.
Yo, I find it very funny that while I'm speaking and you cut me off, I all of a sudden go in the background. I find that
Mike,
real funny.
Come on, Mike.
That's real funny.
Come on, Mike. I didn't cut you off.
Then I didn't sign back in the show. I was just sitting in the background all of a sudden. But especially when I'm talking, I don't cut you off when you talk. Let me rock.
I never cut you off. Seriously, Mike.
You did.
I would never.
You did. Go back and listen to it. You did. But let me say something.
Come on,
I find
Mike.
it hilarious that when we were doing the whole Biden versus Trump thing the first time, y'all said the same nonsense. You can't do it. You can't do it. It's Trump. It's Trump. It's Trump. And now you're gonna say, well, we're in the you should have did this in the primary. There was no primary because it was Biden. It wasn't supposed to be Kamala. It was supposed to be Biden. Kamala popped up last second, like the little Pokemon. Oops, Squirtle is sick, so I'm gonna jump in and take up. That's what the hell happened. Let's not act like we had a whole big run up of Kamala to get used to her to know her. She popped out of nowhere. That's it. She popped out of nowhere and hopped in the debate.
She's the vice president, Mike.
She was the most quiet vice president in the history of vice presidents.
Yeah, that was for a specific reason, though. That was not.
What you're doing now is making excuses.
No, I'm not.
That's what you're doing now.
I'm not.
You know how whenever you say something and I have an answer for it and you go with an excuse, you're doing the exact same thing. So if my explanations are excuses, your explanations are excuses. This is bull crap. And you want to say now all of a sudden these people are coming out? They're not. They were out when Obama was out. They were out when Biden was going. They've always been out. It's just easier to do it against this chick because she didn't run. She was a vice president. She's damn near Ford. She just got squeezed in. Hey, we ain't had nobody else. Go ahead and shove her up. She looks unqualified.
How she looks unqualified? How she got squeezed in? Like if Biden died, she would be president, correct?
Exactly.
All right. So
hold up.
Okay.
Was Obama not one of the people that said we should have had a runoff? Was Obama himself not one of the people that said we should have there should be a meeting, we should decide who's going to be the next
I would agree.
No, answer my question.
I would agree with that.
I want a yes or no.
I would agree with that.
Was Obama one of the people? Yes or no?
But that's not Kamala Harris'
yes or no,
fault.
sir. You're not answering my question.
I just said, I would agree with that. However, Kamala Harris wasn't the one that set that stage. Kamala Harris was not the one that set this up at all. Biden is the one that pushed forward and went back on his word that he was only going to run for one term. That's a Biden issue. So that had nothing to do with she didn't stick herself in anything.
Every single time it's another thing to make black people feel away. It's that wasn't his fault. That's somebody else's fault. It's always excuses y'all want to make for shitting on us.
It's not
always an excuse. When it was Obama, it's the first black president. Okay, he didn't push anything for black people, but we had a black person in office. That's good enough. When it was Joe, still, I mean, he's the best we could do. We couldn't get Hillary in, so let's push for Joe. Now, no, the only way we're going to get some pushback on the Democratic Party is to rub doo-doo in their face. And this is the only way to do it. Now, I think we should have did it before Trump, but we didn't. I think Trump is the worst thing in the world. I do. But I also know for a fact if Kamala wins, it's going to be the status quo. There's going to be nothing changed. Just like when they fricasseed Bernie in the back door and they got him out of there, they're going to do this. They're going to continue doing the same nonsense. This is what they do. They just smile and they go, "Oh, they're mad. Ooh, they're mad." Give them some hot sauce and some cheaper gas, and they'll shut up. That's how they're going to treat us. That's it.
All right.
This ain't my show. I'm gonna shut up. Go ahead.
Hold on 1 second. So let's go to DJ Hammer. Live and direct, strictly real. What's going on,
Hammer
TJ?
away from me.
First of all, we need to free the strictly real tapes. I wish we had I wish we had the counter up here so I don't go over my time. Just give me like 3 minutes, and I'm done.
No, you got time. Say your stuff. Stuff. This is TFP.
Okay. Now, so I want to start from top to bottom because I got a terrible memory, and maybe as I'm talking, I'll remember what my original points were. But first of all, because I could give credit where credit is due, Mike cooking the hell out of y'all, and it ain't even close.
Not true.
But second of all, so no, hold on. But second of all, so here's the issue with MD. First of all, which are 98%, absolutely not. 65% black male turnout, up 12% from the previous voting cycle. So
what's the source? What's the source?
I got it. It was Pew. I got it from Pew Research.
So you telling me 2008 Obama only got 68% of the black male vote? Is that what you just said?
I just looked it up as you was talking. 68% black male.
That doesn't sound right. Like, bro, that's ridiculous. I'm just.
All right,
I don't know what kind of research you're doing.
I told you what I did. Just keep it in your back pocket. We'll look it up, and if they're wrong, I'll keep looking. I just want to look up something real quick, but I needed to get that out. So, secondly, since the beginning of this show, and I even had to talk to Ricardo about it yesterday. Venkat says it all the time. The whole thing is to get to the polls, get to the polls, get to the polls, get to the polls, get to the polls. You got to vote. You got to vote. You got to vote. Now you have collectively black men are saying, "Hey, we're going to go and vote." Now it's, "Hey, don't vote for that person." So which one is it? You can't have it both ways. Just like Mike checked Obama, I'm gonna check the panel. You can't be telling people what they should be doing when you're presented with two subpar ass options. If people are living in a world and have seen nothing done for them over a period of time, then maybe they're going to be like, you know what? Let me go try the other way. But that's my thought on that. So Venkat says, "Oh, we should know Obama. I mean, we should know about Kamala Harris." Then Mike says, "Hey, she's been the quietest VP of all time." Venkat turns around and says, "Oh, that was by choice. So how the hell are we supposed to know about it then?"
Thank you.
Come on, man. Come on, man. Stop with the foolishness, man. No. I asked for 3 minutes. I asked for, but that's what you said. I'm literally just regurgitating what you said. So then you bring up the identity. I love it. I love it. As I sit here and iron my daughter's school clothes, that hopefully I could get her to school so she could get an education to somehow be better than me, that she could actually impact some change in this godforsaken society, because that's who I identify. Pardon me if I don't identify with Kamala Harris. Come on, man. Like, why is it that black people always pull the identity thing when it's convenient? When it's convenient, now all of a sudden we got to identify. Y'all allowed it. I noticed, but y'all won't let. I promise when y'all rebut me, I will be quiet. But y'all only call out the identity when it suits your thing. You've been telling us we got to go to the polls. When people say, you know what, I don't want to vote for any of these. No, because if you don't vote, you can't say anything. So we're like, okay, and I'm just saying we just to say black men. So we're like, okay, we're gonna go to the polls, but we may not vote the way that you want us to vote. Is that still okay? Oh no, you can't do it that way because you got to do it the way that we say. Because as the steal a line from Wayne, mommy politics. You got to do the mommy politics. That's what you got to do. You got to vote the same status quo that we've been voting forever and ever and ever, and seen absolutely no change. I get to hear one of my best friends ever, Venkat, constantly criticize how shitty the pay gap is, how shitty healthcare is, how shitty this is, how shitty this is. Hey, why wasn't it changed? Obama stood up in his little press conference thing and said, "Hey, Trump is taking credit for this economy. That was my economy." Okay, so if you're taking credit for that economy, then you need to take blame for everything that happened bad also. You can't have it both ways where you're like, oh man, well, y'all got to do this. Y'all got to do this. I would rather you just say, hey, black people, we need to vote, but just make sure that you vote in Democrat. Don't tell me, don't vote for the independent guy on there. Because then if that's the case, it's not about voting. It's about who you want, who the majority wants. And I'm sick and tired of everybody telling me what I need to do. And the last thing I'll say, because I know y'all want to rebut me, and it's fine. And I'll be quiet and let you say it. God, don't forget what I was just. Oh my God. Oh, so even yesterday, as Mike was going off yesterday. Had I had a new bomb in the thing, I'd have dropped about 10 of them from him yesterday. I knew it was coming. I thought it was going to come from Ricardo, but it came from my partner E. He was like, he went to the greatest line that they always go to. Oh, well, and I love E. He's my partner. But hey, the president could only do so much. It's not really the presidential election that matters. So why the hell are y'all caring so much if black men decide to make a change? If the president could only do so much, and the president, he only has limited power and this and that. So why are y'all trying so hard to keep black men who say, you know what? I don't want to vote I don't want to vote Democrat. I wholeheartedly think a big majority of this has to do with gender, but it's not 100% gender. It's just a bunch of men that are more sensible now. And they're like, you know what? The Democratic Party has done dick for me. Let me try something different. And I'm done. That's it. I'm done.
Name one thing in the last 50 years that the Republican Party has done for black people.
I could pull a Dr. Me and say, name one thing that the Democratic Party has done for us.
I would say as a third.
Yeah, I would say as a third. Nobody's supposed to be doing anything for black people. That's what I would say. But hey, I'm not looking at it that way.
Hey,
MD,
if that's true, then this whole conversation makes no sense.
You're right. That's what I started off with in the beginning.
I respect.
Hold on. Hey, no, hold on. Let me just say this last thing because Mike brought that up. So in the beginning, when we started doing Man Talk Monday, I would have people hit me up all the time and be like, "Man, these conversations don't really, they're not doing anything." But y'all showing up every week, and it's the talking point. So we gotta stop saying these conversations don't make sense and stuff like that. It absolutely does, because people wouldn't be having panels talking about stuff like this.
But you have to say it in the proper context, Trevor. Legally, from a constitution, I'm the Constitution man.
There you go.
You can't do nothing for no black people. It can't be done. Why are we having a conversation of something that you should have learned about in middle school social study?
Because people don't listen in school.
We're not putting it in the right context. What Obama said was stupid because it wasn't put in the proper context. And like I said, I don't believe that's his fault. I believe he just went into a group of campaign workers, start talking, because he saw it with a bunch of niggas. He said, okay, let me switch to nigga mode and talk to these mostly black women, by the way, and start talking, not knowing that full damn well it was going to be records press on the phone from dozens of people, and they put it out there. I don't necessarily put that on Obama. What he said was stupid. Yes, absolutely. But I'm saying in the context in which he was talking from a strategic point of view, I get it. That's all. That's all I'm saying. Now, again, none of this makes sense to me because who we're talking about is a fringe group of people. We got to get that through our head. This is not a whole bunch of. This is not Black America saying this. This is Negroes on Twitter,
Exactly.
on YouTube, on
Exactly.
Facebook, and Trump knows that too. That's why he's pandering to that specific group. It's fringe at the end of the day. Now, I'm looking at Pew Research Center right now. The number says 95% 2008, 87% 2012. That's what it says. Right now, Kamala is expected to get around 87%. If that's the same number in 2012, what are we talking about?
Yep.
That's all I'm saying.
The headline on this Pew Research thing says dissecting the 2008 electorate most diverse in U.S. history. That's where I got the number. 2008.
So what does it say specifically about black male? Black male is what I need.
Let me go to overall whites made up 76%, black males up 12.1%, 65.2%. That's what
okay,
it's showing
right
me.
There. It's not saying that number for who voted for Obama. It's talking about the electorate, meaning out of all likely black male voters, that's who voted. That's been like that since time immemorial. All niggas don't vote.
Check, please.
Hey, I don't mind being. Hey, you ain't gonna get no argument from me if you correct me. That's fine. That's fine. Hey,
okay. I'm just saying.
Check. That's fine. That's fine. But Venkat, you still got to come up with your identity politics and your mommy politics and now.
I don't know what any of that word salad mean. I don't know what the hell. You guys made that up last week.
Of course you don't.
Telling me some bull crap like that. That junk don't fly in my world. Mommy politics. What the frick?
You need to identify with her because she'll make history. Hillary would have made history. What's the point?
No. That's way too easy. That's way too easy. Again, she has served and done things on her resume that a lot of these white old men that's been president never did. And you have a guy that Donald Trump has never been a governor. He's never been a congressman. He's never been a senator. He's never been even a food inspector. He's never been nothing.
He's been a president.
He's been a president.
He's been a president.
Right,
He's been the president.
Right. Off of.
Hey, I stabbed AK right in his neck. He wouldn't ready for that one.
This is the thing. You guys take victory laps on things that don't make sense.
No, I don't. I just like picking you up.
Kamala Harris hasn't been the president yet, and she's vying to become president. She has all those accomplishments on her resume. Donald Trump in 2016 was not the president. What did he have on his resume? The Apprentice.
Nobody is disagreeing with you. Nobody. No. We're giving you those points. So let that anger go. I need your anger to go in another direction. Tell me these things she's done that are presidential. Tell me these things she's done that are so presidential. Let me hear it. I'm a person that has no idea what she's done other than the BS lawyer stuff she's done. So please tell me what she's done that was presidential.
She's a former lawyer.
That is not presidential, sir. You just told me Trump wasn't a governor, Trump wasn't a mayor. What has she done that was presidential other than being a vice president? Because if that's all she's done, that's the exact same thing Trump has done, except he was an office hire.
Sure.
I don't get that. I don't get that questioning because I mean, at the end of the day, like we're talking about legislation, and she's been a deciding vote on a lot of legislation. Like the American Rescue Plan. I mean, the
one that did the deciding vote when we had that one issue during the pandemic where it refresh my mind again. I think it was one of those votes where it was deadlocked between the House and the Senate. She came in, and I think she had to vote. So she was the deciding vote. Had it not been her being there, the vote wouldn't have went into the of the Democrats. So she has done certain things. We're not looking.
Twin?
Mm-hmm.
Is she a Democrat?
She's a Democrat.
Okay, so are you telling me that a Democrat got the deciding factor, voted Democrat, and that somehow makes them presidential?
I'm trying to figure out what you mean.
Mike is
In
trying
what
to
context is
undermine
president? Yeah,
every
how?
aspect.
Hey, cook them niggas, Mike.
You feel me? Hey, MD.
I don't get. Wait a minute.
MD,
Hold on.
this isn't to you, MD. This is to Venkat.
Hold on.
Venkat brought all this shit up. Venkat's the one who said she's more presidential. I'm trying to get
I
what
never
presidential
said
means.
presidential. I said she has things on her resume that will qualify her more so than Donald Trump.
Sir, you said
Also,
the word
Donald Trump
presidential.
has been in office and he did not pass any bills except for the tax cuts.
Yep.
Now that's a fact.
Which
Sir,
is
he
a
was a
Republican agenda for decades.
He was
So
the president.
he's also wasn't able to negotiate any bills, which is why a lot of plans fell through. There's
He
so
had to go
much about Donald Trump.
He had to go executive order route.
Oh my God! And
Yes,
executive orders are
he did it
easily
differently.
overturned. So
He
as
did it
far as
differently.
like governing, what in the hell is a guy that doesn't know how to govern, that doesn't want to govern? He completely wants the office for the power and the prestige and the notoriety over the actual doing things to help make lives better. And that's the nigga that niggas is going for to somehow save the day. Because Superman gonna come in the form of an orange crusty ass whatever.
You are
Like
so
it don't
racist,
make no
Venkat.
sense.
This what not
Hey,
making sense.
Venkat.
Yeah.
Hey, Venkat, let me ask you this and answer this honestly. Because you keep talking about old crusty white man, blah blah blah. And by the way, don't forget to answer Ephesians 6:10 question. He dropping some jewels in the chat.
And that
But
last thing he said was fire too. My resume, I'm black. Facts.
Yeah, he dropping some jewels in the chat. But hey, because my battery about to die, so I got to run. But if Kamala was running against a, let's say, 45 to 55-year-old black man on the Republican side, would you have this same piss and vinegar?
I don't care.
Silence.
It could have been.
Your silence speaks.
Oh my Lord! I can't believe this right now.
Your silence speaks a lot. Man.
I didn't even get to reply. Anyway,
go ahead, because my battery about to die.
First of all, it could have been a white 45, 50 some odd year old. It wouldn't have mattered. It wouldn't have mattered. If it was a black, it wouldn't have mattered. It wouldn't have mattered at all. The only thing that matters, I'm looking at the two choices, and one is god awful and wrong, and the other one is at least a logical step. Is it going to be?
Where is the logic? I'm
sorry,
Venkat.
I can't. The logic is breaking down of one administration versus the other. I mean, to me, it's quite clear.
She's
we
on.
Don't know
she's
what her
on the
administration will look like, MD.
Well, it's not going to be an administration to identify with Trump. That's why I'm voting.
It's crazy.
Like I said,
it's crazy. It's a crazy
It could be a steaming pile of shit on the blue side. That's what I'm gonna vote for.
Oh my God!
Sir,
I mean, that's just a fact.
The first thing I said when I started speaking on when they played the clip. What was the first thing I said?
Remind me, Mike. Remind me.
I said I am not ever voting for Trump.
I heard that. That's cool.
I mean,
but then you turn around and did identity politics.
But I get to critique her bullshit.
No, Venkat did identity politics.
Well, if you both of y'all doing out there.
Don't let the facts get in the way of a good story, MD. Don't do that.
Lord. this nigga sound like one of those WWF dolls that repeat phases. Like, God.
Politics, because we talking about black people.
Wow.
By default, it's identity politics.
Venkat, what if Kamala was on the Republican side and Trump was on the Democrat side? Because I'm getting you to, you know what I'm trying to get you to say. Because I think that you are so loyal to the Democratic Party that you won't even take a second glance at the other side. Tell me I'm wrong.
I think you need a teddy bear, and you need something to make you feel good about your simplistic view.
You won't answer the question.
No,
you won't answer the question, Venkat.
These are like ridiculous questions, though, because
no, it's not. No, it's not, Venkat. No, it's not.
Okay, so
I asked you. So okay, so tell the panel, tell the people that's listening. We're on episode 54 of Tate Fist Politics, and I don't think anybody has ever asked you this question for you to know. Are you just loyal to the party? Yes or no?
I am not loyal to any party. If you would have heard other episodes, I've explained that multiple times. I also went in at one point when I was talking about the dangers of Joe Biden. I also said if Chris Christie was running, I would more likely vote for Chris Christie. I have voted for Charlie Crist as an independent. He was an independent. I voted for Charlie Crist when he ran twice. Twice I voted for him.
You should be punished for that.
Hey, when Ron DeSantis on the other side, and then there was another. Come on, man.
I got you.
So I mean, that's what I'm saying. It's like I need the cuddles and teddy bears and whatnot, because I need an ultra simplistic, ridiculous view of it, and it's like that stops the bigger, bolder ideas and agendas and whatnot that could be discovered, because it's oversimplifying what I am saying and diluting the real truth here. But whatever. Some people need to crush up their food before they eat it, because they don't have teeth for food.
I'm gonna say this before I go, Venkat. In the most non-homosexual way ever.
Oh Lord,
I love it. I love it. I love it.
You better find
that's friendship, fella. That's friendship.
You better find
You see, he can't say it back though. You see that? You see what I'm telling you?
Ain't nothing wrong with that. well, I mean,
you see what I'm saying?
You could have done rubbed off him, man.
he wicked, man. He wicked loyal to that Democratic Party, man. This is.
But
all right, fellas, man.
Okay, so I just want to go.
What is that? No, I'm about to leave. Yeah, I'm about to leave, man. I'll see y'all tomorrow, man. Vince McMahon episode tomorrow on Wrestling with Reality. I'll be listening in the back. I got to get this phone charged up.
It's the Dutch pot.
Okay.
Avatar.
So I wanna play this video, which is relevant to what we're talking about, and it's just breaking down Donald Trump. His promises really about black people and black unemployment and whatnot. It's a short clip, but he breaks down like different statistics about what's going on, what's true and what's not true. So let's take a look at this, and then we'll get our views. Oh, that's a great picture, Mike. That Wu-Tang hat is the bomb right there, man.
Thank you, kind sir.
All right, let's check this video.
Hey, Venkat.
Oh,
you too, bro.
What's that?
I love you too, bro.
Man, you better stop starting with that. All right. We'll be back.
The new black unemployment numbers came out today, and it's a sign of good news for black Americans. 4 years ago, when Trump was president, the black unemployment rate was 11.9%. Today, the Labor Department reported it's 5.7%. That's a 52% drop in black unemployment in the last 4 years. While Trump tries to scare voters with lies about immigrants taking black jobs, the truth is that 2.5 million more black Americans have jobs than 4 years ago. And last year, we had the lowest black unemployment rate in history, 4.8%. Even more impressive, last year was the first year on record when black unemployment never rose above 6% at any point during the year. And despite all the talk of leaving black men behind, the unemployment rate for black men dropped to 5.1% in September, the first time in a long time when it's been lower than black women's unemployment, which landed at 5.3%. Some will complain that the comparison with Trump is unfair because his numbers were skewed by the COVID crisis. Yes, COVID did affect the economy for Trump, but it also caused supply chain shortages, labor market disruptions, and demand surges that affected inflation for Biden. You can't blame Biden for COVID-related economic problems of inflation and not blame Trump for the COVID-related economic problems of unemployment. The president's job is to handle crises, and Trump failed to handle the COVID crisis. Biden, on the other hand, passed the Inflation Reduction Act, and inflation dropped back down to 2.5%. When Trump came into office, he inherited a thriving economy from President Obama and made things worse. When Biden and Harris came into office, they inherited a failing economy from Donald Trump and fixed it. The economy didn't just rebound when Biden and Harris took office because the pre-COVID jobs magically came back. It grew because the federal government took active steps, like the American Rescue Plan that Joe Biden signed in March 2021. That law saved the economy from collapse and provided $1,400 stimulus checks to ordinary Americans. Every single Republican in Congress voted against those checks and every other part of the law, but they took credit for it anyway after they saw its positive effects. That's the way Republicans fool you. They take credit for anything good with the economy, then they blame Democrats for anything bad. When Trump first ran for office in 2016 and black unemployment was going down, he said the numbers were all phony and rigged by the government.
It was 16.8% in March of 2010, and it dropped to 7.8%, a 54% reduction under President Obama. Then Trump denied that it was even happening. He called the numbers fake news.
Right. But as soon as he got in office, Trump turned around and took credit for Obama's black unemployment record and said the numbers were no longer rigged.
Yeah, I talked to the president prior to this, and he said, to quote him very clearly, "They may have been phony in the past, but it's very real now."
Ha ha ha, we lied. Very funny. Whether it's poll numbers, election results, crowd size, or unemployment numbers, Trump just creates his own reality. The Trump White House even created a new term to justify their gaslighting lies.
Sean Spicer, our press secretary, gave alternative facts to that. But the point remains.
Wait a minute. Alternative facts? Look, alternative facts are not facts. They're falsehoods.
It turns out that Republicans are really, really good at marketing, but not so good for the economy.
Since the end of the Cold War in 1989, America has created about 51 million new jobs. What's the score? Democrats 50, Republicans 1.
Fact checkers verified it was true. When Trump was president, we lost 2.7 million jobs in 4 years. Under Biden and Harris, the economy has now added 16.2 million new jobs. In fact, the worst black unemployment recorded was 21.2% under Republican President Ronald Reagan. And the best black unemployment rate in history was 4.8% under Democratic President Joe Biden and Vice President Kamala Harris. Republicans want you to forget that history. They want to pretend that Donald Trump is a successful businessman who can make America great again. But Donald Trump is just a great salesman who is willing to sell mugshots, Bibles, sneakers, NFTs, watches, and himself to the next sucker in line. Why would you trust a guy who inherited $400 million from his daddy, lost it all, and filed bankruptcy 6 times? Look at his record. Trump casinos went bankrupt. Trump's USFL football team collapsed. Trump Airlines failed. Trump Magazine failed. Trump Steaks failed. Trump Vodka failed. Trump Mortgage failed. Trump University went out of business for fraud, and the Trump Foundation went out of business for fraud as well. Even his new business, Trump Media, has lost 2/3 of its value in the past 6 months.
It's a scam, just like everything he's ever been involved in is some sort of con.
The bottom line is that Donald Trump is a fraud. He's not good for America, and he's not good for Black America.
All right. So one of the things it illustrated many things, but one of the things that the video illustrated was how Donald Trump used Barack Obama's economy, claimed it as his own, and rode all the good parts and positive implications of that economy. And one of the things that happened during Barack Obama's time period was black unemployment went from 16, almost 17% down to like 7%. And it's just ironic because that famous footage of Charlemagne the God talking about what would you specifically do for black people, as if there were no benefits in his policies. So Donald Trump comes into office after screaming that the Obama's numbers were illegitimate. 2 months into the presidency, I remember like it was yesterday, he started claiming how good his numbers were, which were Barack Obama's economic numbers. and him specifically pointing out the black unemployment figures and owning that number. But the ironic part about that piece is that Joe Biden, when he took office, the number went even lower, a record 4.8%. And out of the whole scenario, the only thing some of these misguided, and what MD loves to say, low information black voters, black men voters, because the women ain't having this problem. The only thing they retained was a time when Trump said it. Now, I'll give Trump credit. He knows how to repeat over and over and over things,
Sure does.
and it just sticks. It just sticks. So it may not be real, or it may be real. Most of the times it's not real, but it just sticks, and then it's just accepted as that's what it is. And that black unemployment numbers that he had been touting, which came from Obama, the guy that gets the heat for not doing anything for black people, and then the guy that comes after Trump made it even lower. But for some reason, they still latch on to Trump, just like the stimulus. When he was the first president ever to sign a stimulus on his name on the check, which was $600. But to this day, everybody, if you talk to them, they believe that Donald Trump gave them all the stimulus, the $1,200 or $1,400 stimulus, and all the other stimuluses that came through. They think that Donald Trump did that because he wrote his name down and he said, I gave you a stimulus. And that was the first time I heard about the stimulus was George Bush. He passed stimulus back in like 2004 or something like that.
Yeah, he passed the stimulus when the housing crisis and all that stuff happened.
Exactly. He didn't sign his name on there. Obama didn't sign no name on no stimulus or nothing like that. Trump did that, and now Trump is getting full credit. He only passed one stimulus, and it was $600, the lowest stimulus of all the ones that any of these presidents passed. And
it was two, wasn't it?
No, it wasn't.
It was two.
The second one was Biden and them. They passed it. It was supposed to be $2,000.
I have to go back and research that.
And then they deducted the $600 that Trump passed to make it $1,400. And that's why Biden and them passed. They were supposed to pass 2,000, but they did 1,400.
Yeah, now I remember that second one because hell, Boehner and them didn't want to do that.
Yeah, they didn't want to do it. Exactly. So I mean, this is the problem. And like in the moments, I may know that, Ricardo may know that, MP may know that, but so many people don't. Even people at my job that I have to tell them.
Don't try to stick me out like I'm dumb.
Well, you notice everything, Mike.
Damn right.
So so I said my piece. So I'll go back to the panel. I'll go back with Mike first.
I'll say this once again, because apparently none of you were listening, except for maybe MD. I'm not voting for Trump. I'm not crazy. What I was speaking to was the disenfranchisement of black men in this democratic culture. That's what I was speaking to. And thank you, sir. I appreciate it. That's all you, my twin. I shouldn't even have put you. I apologize. You know you're not a part of this foolishness.
I know. I don't think it's
Thank you, sir. Thank you. You know what I mean? I should take personal how he threw me to the back room, but we ain't gonna talk about that. We'll talk about that later. So I'm speaking to the disenfranchisement of black men by society today. That's what it is. You think the majority of the men who are saying some of these things that you think are nonsensical aren't doing that because they're trying to push back on the nonsense that have been pushed upon them since the Civil Rights Act?
Not only that, there's a lot of I can't even say the word properly, due to the alphabet community as well. That whole thing with them and them getting away with so much murder. There's so much speeches and talks that I've been having lately. And I'm like, damn, I didn't realize black men in general just they're dead set against the whole alphabet community getting their way, and there's nobody saying nothing to them. So there's a whole bunch of stuff that's being formulated into this whole equation that I think that now the campaign is not, and I've said this from the beginning, if y'all remember, sorry to cut you off, twin. I just want to bring this point up. That I've been saying from the beginning, from the onset of her being selected, because I think Biden's crew is still salty about the way that everything went down, as they should be. So if we lest we forget, this was pretty much a whole thing created from what's her name? Oh my God, I'm like losing my thought process. Who was in charge of the Democratic Party?
Nancy Pelosi.
Nancy Pelosi. Nancy Pelosi was the one that pushed for Biden to come out, and he didn't say it outright, but we know it was her because he literally made hints of it. So when Pelosi kicked him out and said, "Hey, it's time for you to step down because all these people are pressuring me to say, you know what, you need to go, and we're not going to get the funding, blah blah blah." Ask me how she now has passed the threshold of $1 billion in terms of fundraising funds, and we're now in week 3. And now they're panicking. Why are you panicking? I've always said this from the beginning. The only way it's going to be a tight race, and I've literally said this as well as MD have said this, as many people, pundits, all like said the same thing. It's going to come down to the wire. What I feel will hit Trump the worst is the reproduction issue, which is where the main votes is going to come from. Women in the end will come through and vote because of this whole issue of the whole, women's choice and all of this, blah, blah, blah. He's literally, even his vice president had a hard time during the debates arguing against the point. He had to agree with Waltz. So if we're going to, argue about anything, yes. And I will say this to Trevor because, he hit me hard with that one. If you vote for the other side, I'm not saying because I'm not going to put we as a generalization. What I'm saying is if you vote the wrong way, it's a wasted vote. It doesn't make any sense either way. Now, I get the point that everybody's saying. Yes, black men are disenfranchised.
Disenfranchised or disenchanted?
Both. They're both very angry at the whole political going and this whole lecturing and wagging a finger and all of that stuff. Literally, you had ample time, Democrat Party, to do all of this, for years. You wait until now when it's down to the wire with this orange blob who's been lying through his teeth, coming up with all sort of gimmicks because he's trying to keep himself out of jail, which we all know that's what he's trying to do. He's literally winning the whole talk because he's literally regurgitating the same lies over and over again to the point where if you tell so much lies so much times, it's gonna stick at some point, like dude on the wall. It's literally what is happening here. So then people are forgetting the whole backlash of literally his administration shut down the country for literally a week with TSA people as well as other people in the not administration, but in the government sectors couldn't even eat food. They literally had to be begging other companies. Hey, we need handouts here because we can't pay our bills. We can't even buy juice. We can't be. And literally, these companies had to pick up the back burners and try to feed TSA agents at that. Like they were one of the few people that my company had to feed. Lest we forget all of that stuff that happened during that time. But no, everybody's forgetting those are the minor detailments and going with the narrative of, oh, well, this is what happened. And another point I want to bring up as well, because I'm hearing the whole rhetoric of the immigrants and the problem with them coming in and all of that. Lest we forget in the 90s, if most people don't remember this, but I remember it quite well because, hey, I have family that were living in New York. The Haitians were targeted, not so long ago in the 90s, I believe, where they were saying the Haitians were pushing or the ones responsible for HIV spreading rapidly in the U.S. That was the point. A lot of people remember that. And I think it's we need to bring up again. This is not the first time this whole rhetoric has come about. It comes about whenever they need to get the white supremacy people to start galvanizing and voting. They did bring up a target point where they were like, Haitians were spreading AIDS. We don't, mind you, at that time, nobody really knew about the whole issue with AIDS and HIV and all of that. But it was such a narrative that they pushed it to the extent that the Haitians had to come out in droves and literally march on the streets of New York. It was one of the largest, if not one of the biggest, demonstration ever in New York City because they were pushing that narrative that, oh, Haitians were the one coming into the country and infecting everybody with AIDS. Are you kidding me, people? Are we that forgetful of history that we're going back to repeating it all over again? This is nuts. But I digress because, again, I say it, but I'm not. Vancat might say whatever you want to say. MD might say whatever you want to say. Twin might say whatever you want to say. But I will say, if you vote the wrong way, it's a wasted vote because we don't have that much options in the race. And the less of the two evils, you got to choose one, yes. But you vote the wrong way, don't come back and complain afterwards. Talk about, oh, I don't have enough money to feed my kids. Oh, gas bill is this. I was going to give a fiddler's few because but you voted.
Especially with Project 2025. Especially with that. MD, anything on the topic there?
Yeah, and it goes back to the whole thing with Obama. It's funny. Well, it's kind of sad that we putting a lot of focus on the controversy, and you know what? We talked about this on Thursday night. The actual speech that he gave in Pittsburgh was excellent. You know what I'm saying? It was great, and he talked about he talked about that very falsehood about the transitional economy, bro. That was and this is coming from me. Yeah, I had great strides during Trump's term economically, but I'm not stupid enough to believe that he took strides within said economy to make it better. I understand that it was a transition to what Obama done, and if you really look at it, it was purely maintenance, which it should be from president to president. It should be a maintenance of the economy. Nobody could expect what happened in 2020. Nobody. Now, take this into consideration. Pre-COVID, Trump was still on task to drop as far as manufacturing jobs, and that's what everybody talk about. So from that aspect, he was still going to be in the negative. He might have not been in the negative in totality of job growth, but he was definitely going to be in the negative with manufacturing. Why? Because he gave all the tax cuts to the bigwigs in the manufacturing plant, and they didn't need to be productive like they used to. So he said, "Hell, we can half-ass it and lay off people and still make record profits." So if you want to get technical with it, but hey, that's another story for another time. Hey, I want to say this real quick. This might be sidetracked. I want to go back to this whole notion of not black folks not being privy to the accomplishments of whichever president. It really don't matter. Like I said in the other conversation we had, a lot of this stuff is really not on the politicians themselves. It's on us as a people. If you want to go that route, you know what I mean. We haven't did what we need to do to bolster our I guess you would say prestige within our demographic. You Ricardo, you brought up the whole LGBT. I don't agree with none of that. Politics at the end of the day is a game. It's almost like Game of Thrones. You know what I'm saying? You got all your prestigious houses, and then you got your shit houses where really they ain't got that much prestige. That's the black demographic in the Democratic Party. We bannermen at the end of it. We've been loyal to whoever for so long. We know we good when it's time to go to war. That's it. We haven't bolstered our prestige within the game of politics. Government is a game, politics is how we play it. I always say that. You can't get mad at the politician for going low-hanging fruit with nigger babble just to get your vote. That ain't their fault. That's our fault. So, I mean, let's just keep it real at the end of the day. You can't blame the LGBTQ. They making moves from a political standpoint, from an economic standpoint of what they can offer the Democrats. Niggas ain't doing that. Not in totality. You got some that are. Black Matters, Black Pact, so on and so forth. But guess what? A lot of black women leading the charge in that regard. Can't get mad at that either. What are black men doing in order to facilitate the reasoning behind them garnering a position of power in the Democratic Party financially? Because that's the world we live in. Whose fault is that? That's the Republicans' fault through Citizens United. That ain't the Democrats' fault. The Citizens United came through and said, "Hey, look, we should be able to spend as much money as we got in order to get our politicians in." That's solely a Republican thing. And guess what? We didn't evolve with it. Ain't they fault. But some black people did. Majority black women did. They got on their shit. I ain't trying to play gender war. I'm just telling you what's fact. They got on their shit. And they bolstered a position within the Democratic Party that black men just don't have right now. It's called political Darwinism. Either get with it or die off. Point blank, period.
All
Yeah.
right, MD, thanks. We lost Mike.
No, he's in the background. He
I
said
put
you put him in the background and he's not.
no, it did. How do I don't even touch anything. I don't know what Mike doing, but I put the link back in the chat, Mike. So it's there.
Saudi Arabia and Russia.
Before we go into the first lame duck, I want to just show what MD was talking about with Obama's speech. Just a little clip here about that speech he did during around the same time that video that we were looking at dropped. Let me just pull this up real quick.
And the reason some people think, well, I don't know, I remember that economy when he first came in being pretty good. Yeah, it was pretty good because it was my economy. We had 75 straight months of job growth that I handed over to him. It wasn't something he did. I had spent 8 years cleaning up the mess that the Republicans had left me the last time. So just in case everybody has a hazy memory, he didn't do nothing except those big tax cuts. His other big economic plan now is to slap tariffs on everything, from food to TVs. Now, understand what tariffs are. Anything that's coming from that's made elsewhere and comes here, you slap extra money on top of it. And if other countries are cheating, in some cases, it makes sense because you want to have a fair playing field. But what he's proposing is basically a Trump sales tax that could cost the average family almost $4,000 a year. So if you're concerned about higher prices, that is not the way to get lower prices. That's going to come out of your pockets. You think prices are high now? Donald Trump's message basically is, you ain't seen nothing yet.
All right, there we go. I'm finally glad he's saying it. Like, he needs to say that often and as much as possible, because some people, for some weird reason, don't understand that. I've been saying it, and people are looking at me like I'm crazy for we've been on here now for over a year on the Straight Talk Society, and before that on the Arena. And I'm saying stuff like this, and people are like, you need proof. You need, like, really? Oh my God. So I hope we can go and grow from this and move on to what the real issue is, because that ain't it, man. So any last words on that, MD, Ricardo?
Yeah, no, that's it, man. Like I said again, we have to go back and study how these figures take shape and are maintained from term to term with a lot of presidents. What shapes our economy? That's the most important thing that we gotta deal with, right?
Yep.
For the most part, from Obama to Trump, there was not much of a difference when we look at the bare bones economy. Trump did some things that were detrimental from the, I guess you would say, I'm gonna use Venkat word, the worker standpoint. Whereas Biden did some things, and transition from Obama to Trump to Biden. Biden did some things to bolster those numbers, at the same time maintaining a certain level of profit toward the corporate interest. Again, I just saw yesterday. Again, it's like almost every day now. Record S&P 500. Like, how is this possible? Reasoning why the job growth is there in order to maintain that corporate interest of record profit. Now, some might disagree with that. Some might, hey, that ain't enough for me to decide. What I'm saying is, from a maintenance standpoint, it's always been there. We had a blip. If we gonna go from Trump to Biden with COVID, I don't care who was president at that particular time. What happened with the economy during COVID was going to happen because there was nothing you could do about it. Now it could have been,
It could
I
have been
guess
handled better.
managed. Yeah, it could have been managed better, and maybe we would have got out of it sooner. But that again, that's from a policy standpoint. Just from the impact of COVID alone, what Biden was able to do, I can't take away from him. I just can't do it. And you can't make an excuse and place it on Biden based on the fact of how we bounced back. Can't do it.
Yep. Ricardo, any final words on this subject?
Other than the fact that I mean the disenchantment comes from somewhere, but in regards to this subject, I feel like we've touched on most of the things. I think it's at this point in 3 before election comes into play, we're doing all of this semantics and nonsense. It's if like Van Cat has been saying and MD has been saying, everybody has various sources that have been coming up on the panels. If you don't know who you're, if at this, in this juncture that we're in almost 3 weeks before the election, you don't know who to vote for, clearly you weren't paying attention the whole time, because that's for why I haven't made up your mind yet. Who are these undecided people? Like, it's not that hard to figure out where the politics, and it's not that hard to figure out how how the 4 years previous before this went into play. So I'm confused. There's still people undecided, and they're going to wait until the very last minute when they get into the booth to make their choice. Again, I implore everyone, still know your local, politics. Like here in Florida, I can only speak for Floridians because, are coming about the, legalizing weed and its effects and all this crap. And, still the abortion issue has been put in our hands to make a choice whether or not we want to abortion or get rid of it. So there's that are there other than the main event, which is to pick the president, the people, or at the very least the ones that are going to make to put in the judges into play and all this stuff. I implore everyone to know that more so than about Kamala and Orange Block. But I digress. Still, yes, I say this, and I'll just end it on this note. There's a lot of disenfranchisement, but I feel like the Democratic Party now needs to pay attention to this. It's not about money. It's not about all these things that you guys are buying your way out of. It's more like listening to your actual party figures. The largest demographic in the party is always the black vote. If you're not happy and you're disenchanted and are now thinking of going with the other side, clearly you're not doing something well. So this election, I implore you all, because you now will have a midterm after this election, to try to listen to what the black people are saying, particularly the black, because at this, y'all know there's an issue with some fringes of the Democratic Party that are not happy, or I shouldn't say the Democratic Party, black people overall, which are the black men that are not happy with the way they've seen things run. So if it's a woman coming into play here and they're like, hey, we don't like how she does certain things, or she's not, catering to my feelings or my whatever it is, clearly y'all are not doing something correct for them to be feeling that way. So fix the issue. How do you fix it? Go do it a grassroots thing. Go to like the barbershops. Do whatever it is or whatever it takes to listen to them. Because this was also done in the beginning. If you remember, we saw a video clip that Vank had showed us where we went and spoke to certain segments of the population and they were telling their feelings of how they felt. So maybe there needs to be like, I guess, like certain grassroots portions of like, people going out from all walks of life and listening to particular black people in certain areas, whether they be rich, poor, whatever it is, and figuring out how to get them on board to vote in the aspect of whatever they're trying to pass legislation wise, because we're not going to get anywhere if we're doing this now at this the 3-week cycle, using Obama to then preach to black men to say, hey, you're not doing this well. It's not going to work. We all know how it's like you told a stubborn child, they're just going to go and do the opposite anyway. So I implore, my peoples, just know your local politics, know what it is that who you're voting in, and know how their impact will be in terms of like putting legislation into play. The judges, particularly, who are going to be picked, is picked based on how we vote. So that then aligns with who Trump is going to put on the Supreme Court. All of this trickles back down. So it makes no sense now, but when you vote, there's certain things that you vote for that puts everything into a rule in place. So that's what I mean when I say, Trevor, when you vote and you vote improper, it's a wasted vote, because then you're going to complain, not you, but I'm just saying people in general, oh, you know, when this person died or this person got shot multiple times, they're against black folks. Then when it goes into court and, you know, it doesn't pass into we want to complain. No, you didn't vote. The person that's in the court system is basically like, you know, the one that makes the decision. Then it escalates up and then it just keeps going until it goes to SCOTUS. So just implore everyone to know you're voting for and know your local ballots and the issues that are on there, and then from there decide and make your votes. But I like, you know, I don't want to be preachy and then be the type of person that tells you, no, vote Democrats and blah, blah. Vote for whoever you want to feel, you know, is in your best. But just know, one vote and you vote, stand on what you vote for, don't complain afterwards. You made the decision. You should have done your homework, and that's all. I'll leave it at.
I can't agree with Ricardo anymore. And I couldn't have said it any better. Yeah, 100%. I was not totally agree with Ricardo on that. All right, so we got Double Ducks, and then we also have Tanishi Coates. Hope I said that name right. So hell,
You're not, bro.
I'm not.
Not no way. You're saying it right.
Tanisi.
Ta-Nehisi.
Ta-Nehisi. Yeah, there you go. Yeah, so we got to look at that controversy as well. So we'll do a lame duck, then we'll go to that, then do the last lame duck. So let's get ready to go in the session. Let's get ready to go in a lame duck session.
First things first, in this lame duck session.
For the United Nations General Assembly to share the extraordinary progress we've made. In less than 2 years, my administration has accomplished more than almost any administration in the history of our country. America's so true. Didn't expect that reaction, but that's okay.
Right.
Ladies and gentlemen, we got him.
You're trying your best, but it never feels like enough.
I started having second thoughts almost the moment I sat down on the plane.
Lights off! Off! Turn them off. They're too bright. Turn them off. Turn them off. Let's go. Ready? Turn
We go back a long way. She was 12, I was 30, but anyway.
So I changed my return flight and flew back on the first available flight I could take.
I'm sick and tired of smart guys.
I'm sick and tired of ordinary people being fleeced.
I'm tired of being quiet.
I'm sick and tired. I'm just sick and tired. We have this notion that somehow if you're poor, you cannot do it. Poor kids are just as bright and just as talented as white kids. With great power comes great responsibility.
These lights are so bright in my eyes that I can't see too many people out there. But I can only see the black ones. I can't see any white ones. You see? That's how far I've come. That's how far I've come. That's a long way, isn't it? These lights. You want to see a bird graveyard? You just go. Take a look. A bird graveyard? Go under a windmill someday. You'll see more birds than you've ever seen ever in your life. Winning is easy. Losing is never easy. Not for me, it's not.
Elections have consequences, and so does breaking the law in search of election rigging. Tina Peters sentenced today to 9 years in her election tampering case. Colorado's best-known election denier, the former Mesa County clerk, was defiant till the end, arguing with the judge at sentencing and bringing in a parade of fellow election conspiracy theorists to defend her. Our Mark Salinger was in court in Grand Junction, where Peters laughed at prosecutors, lectured the judge, then was led away in handcuffs.
Yeah, Kyle, I want to tell you a little bit about Tina Peters' day. This is the Mesa County Justice Center right here, where earlier today, Tina Peters stood in front of the judge for 40 minutes, pleading for him to give her probation, to give her a lenient sentence. So how did that go? Just down the street right here across the parking lot is the Mesa County Sheriff's Office detention facility, where she is spending tonight and likely many more nights to come. Tina Peters is a hero to the people who believe her lies. But inside this courthouse, those same lies made her a felon.
You are a charlatan, and you cannot help but lie as easy it is for you to breathe.
A reckoning happened today in Judge Matthew Barrett's courtroom. For nearly 30 minutes, speaking directly to Peters, he made it clear that words have consequences and lies lead to prison sentences.
Prison is for those folks where we send people who are a danger to all of us, whether it be by the pen or the sword or the word of the mouth. Prison is where folks go, where punishment is what we're focused on, because the crime committed is so significant that anything less would unduly mitigate the seriousness of the same.
Peters granted conspiracy theorists illegal access to voting systems in her county as she searched for proof of voter fraud. Even to this day, after finding no proof of fraud, she maintains the election was stolen from Donald Trump and told the court she did nothing wrong.
Good, good. Well, so you know what I'm saying is true. All right, let me move on. It's not funny. My life is on the line here, Your Honor.
No, you're the one who's making this allegation that, one,
It's
I think
not
it's
an
funny,
allegation.
and two, that I know it's true. You're saying that as if I believe you, and I did not say that.
Okay.
That is why I made the sound, because it's insulting to me for you to just put that in a record in front of all of these people that I believe something to be true.
Okay.
She pleaded for mercy, for probation.
I don't deserve to be in prison. I can do a lot more good out helping people.
But inside this courtroom, Tina Peters is no hero. For the next 9 years, she'll be an inmate.
Your reputation at this point is poor because of what you've done here and after. Your lies are well documented, and these convictions are serious. I'm convinced you would do it all over again if you could. You're as defiant as a defendant as this court has ever seen.
The judge said that Tina Peters showed a complete lack of remorse and that her 40-minute speech to the judge did not help her in trying to get probation. Again, she started on this side at the Justice Center. The judge then sentenced her to this side at the detention facility where, Kyle, she is right now.
A lot of legal observers thought that she was likely to get probation. 9 years is stunning. Mark, the judge said something at the beginning of his sentencing statement that was important. He said that it was not just about punishing her, but deterring others from trying to do the same thing.
Yeah, he kept calling her a charlatan and that her lies had real impacts, that these conspiracy theories that she was peddling, they affect real lives. And we heard from some of those people in court today. As the judge was sentencing her, he kept going back to the fact that this isn't just a sentence for Tina Peters. It is also trying to deter anybody else in power who is thinking about doing something similar.
Mark Salinger for us in Grand Junction. Thank you, Mark.
You are no hero. You abused your position, and you're a charlatan who used and is still using your prior position in office to peddle a snake oil that's been proven to be junk time and time again. Your lies are well documented, and these convictions are serious. I'm convinced you would do it all over again if you could. You're as defiant as a defendant as this court has ever seen. All right, we're here today for sentencing in Miss Peters' case. Before I get into my comments, I'll enter judgment of conviction consistent with the jury's verdicts as to counts 1, 2, 4, 6, 8, 9, and 10. As it relates to fines, fees.
I have health problems that would not be treatable in the Department of Corrections. First of all, I need a magnetic mattress. I've been on that since 1995. I was in 2 rear-end collisions in 84 and 2010. It was pretty severe.
What about that, Mr. Attorney General? I mean,
Do you think that the judge should have shown more leniency in this case, or do you think that that sentence is about right?
This is a fair sentence. The judge took into account a range of circumstances, and those circumstances do include her personal situation, including that her son served our nation well and paid the ultimate price. Unfortunately, when you've got a defendant like Ms. Peters, who refuses to take any responsibility at all and continues to engage in dangerous, illegal behavior, she violated her protection order not to go near the clerk's office. The importance of this sentence is it sends a very clear and compelling message. Undermining our elections will not be tolerated.
Two men at the top of the GOP ticket still cannot accept that former President Donald Trump lost the 2020 election. Take a look at this.
You know, last election, we did great in 2016. A lot of people don't know we did much better in 2020. We won. We did win. It was a rigged election.
Did Donald Trump win? Yes or no?
Yes, he did win. Yep.
So will you concede? Will you concede if your opponent gets more votes? Will you concede?
I really feel bad for you, man.
All right, fact check. Even though it's been more than 1,400 days since that election, no, Trump did not win in 2020. The election was not rigged. And that rhetoric, of course, has consequences in more ways than one. An unapologetic election denier in Colorado is facing the consequences from embracing the so-called big lie. Former Mesa County Clerk Tina Peters was sentenced to 9 years behind bars yesterday for a data breach scheme inspired by Trump's false claims of voter fraud. She allowed a man affiliated with MyPillow CEO Mike Lindell to misuse a security card to illegally access the county's election system. Before handing down the sentence, the judge in the case ripped into Peters for her blatant lies and taking advantage, he says, of her privileged position.
Your reputation at this point is poor because of what you've done here and after. Your lies are well documented, and these convictions are serious. I'm convinced you would do it all over again if you could. You're as defiant as a defendant as this court has ever seen. You don't have those histories of drug and alcohol abuse. There's no lifetime of trauma, not even close to the type of mitigating circumstances I would see from many folks who sit in that chair. No, to the contrary, Ms. Peters, you are a privileged person. You are as privileged as they come. There are many things in my mind that are crystal clear about this case. You are no hero. You abused your position, and you're a charlatan who used and is still using your prior position in office to peddle a snake oil that's been proven to be junk time and time again. In your world, it's all about you. You abdicated your position as a servant to the Constitution, and you chose you over all else. Yes, you are a charlatan, and you cannot help but lie as easy it is for you to breathe. You betrayed your oath for no one other than you.
All right. All right. There she goes. There she goes. Somebody put the spotlight on this hot bucket of trash. Number 59 variety. We're talking Tina Peters, the scum bucket from Colorado. This jackass is actually going to jail for Donald Trump and looking like a moron in the process. She can't go to jail because she need a special magnetic bed. This dumb bitch is our number 59 lame duck. MD, what do you think about Tina Peters?
Yeah, I feel sorry for her, man. I feel sorry for her because she bought into the propaganda, man. She was coerced to do something that landed her in this position. Now, I'm trying to figure out, how in the hell is Mike Lindell not a co-defendant in this trial when he received confidential information and then turned around and used it? Everybody remember after the 2020 election, the $5 million challenge? That was this information.
Yes,
so how in the hell is Mike Lindell not in jail right now?
Special power.
That's crazy to me. That's crazy. But I will say this. I'm glad this happened because now it sets a precedent. It sets a precedent to all these other state cases that we got. And you can't go lower than this based on the legality of the crime. And pretty much all the other state cases, the ones in Arizona and the ones in Georgia, are worse than this. So I'm glad it happened, and I'm glad that it's a state case. I'm glad, this easily could have been a federal case.
Can't pardon this one.
Yeah, can't pardon it. This easily would have failed in jurisdiction of the DOJ based on it was a federal election that she was getting information from. So the DOJ could have easily prosecuted this case. I'm glad that they didn't, because ain't nothing nobody can do about it. Nothing, especially in Colorado where that's Democrat land. So she pretty much assed out up Schitt's Creek, if you will, without a paddle. So hey, it is what it is. More than likely, I don't know how old she is, but more than likely, she probably. Well, I ain't gonna say that because I doubt if she do the whole 9 years.
Yeah, she's not gonna do the whole thing, but
Yeah, she ain't gonna do the whole 9 years. I give her 5 tops.
Yes, 4 or 5.
4 or 5, some around that area.
We all know how this goes.
Yeah, so but again, if this was, she's a warrior for MAGA.
She ain't surviving without that mattress, MD. Sorry.
She might not make it then. She might not make it.
But the question is, what do you need that mattress for? You gonna be that filthy? Let me stop.
She might not make it because she ain't going to Club Fed. You know what I'm saying? She going to Colorado with the Mexicans and all of them. You know what I'm saying? So, but I mean, yeah, man, it's an unfortunate situation, and it shows you the depth in which some of these sycophants are able to go to get a little bit of credit from the higher ups of MAGA, because that's all she was really looking for. She thought she was going to get a nice podcast out of it. Remember, this wouldn't have been as bad. She went while she was on bail. She went up to the county clerk's office, which she used to be the clerk. Went up. The judge said, "Do not go up there. That's terms of your bond.
Mm-hmm.
Don't go up there." She said, "The hell with that. I'm gonna go up there. Not only am I gonna go up there, I'm gonna go up there with a camera crew."
Oh wow, entitlement.
Is she being uppity?
Yes, very.
Like she wanted to prove her case to the fullest extent. And look at her now. Look at her now. And meanwhile, Mike Lindell walking around free as a bird.
Smiling.
Still touting the same conspiracy.
Yes, he is. That's the ironic part.
And I hope that he put something on your book at the very least. You know what I mean?
It ain't happening.
But this is the sad state of affairs that a lot of these. Now this is the very antithesis of a MAGA maniac.
This is epic in its ridiculousness, and there's more to come. There's more of these jackasses to come. Ricardo, what do you think about number 59, steaming hot pile of trash, Tina Peters?
Well, Miss Peters, I just gotta understand something, because I'm really, really confused right about now. You went up to the judge and you pulled the "but woe is me" card. I can't live without this some 2000 mattress, whatever the damn mattress is called. Eradicated 2000. I need. What are you doing? Realize as a judge, you literally worked in the court for. So this is the card you pull. Like, this is what we do. It's baffling. Just even listening to her whole thing, she was just full of very entitled. They must have, I don't know, for some reason. If I put on my conspiracy, which I don't do, let me see. I'm gonna put my tinfoil hat on and say, the more likely would say, "All right, you know what? If you do this for me, we're gonna pay you in the end, and we're gonna give you such and such amount." Because there's no way you could be that dumb to let these people coerce you into believing all this crap, and then you do the bidding and the deed for them, and look where they're at and look where you're at now. You got 9 years in prison for that. I mean, this. What are we doing? Like, this is what we're doing now. Like, come on, lady, you could do better. And at your old age, at your prime age of what you have, in terms of, you're not. It's not like you ain't a spring chicken right about now. So you pretty much, like MD has said, 4 to 5 years tops is what you're gonna get. That's if you have good behavior and you get a judge that's more likely willing to overturn you, or if Orange Blob 45, God forbid, knock on wood, doesn't happen, who was in the power, and what did they do? They overturned the thing, or sent, what do you call that again? Because he was infamous for doing that the last term, where he got people out that were in
Oh,
jail.
pardon?
Pardon.
Yeah, he can't do shit. It's a state case.
Right. So even that can't save you. Like, what are you guys doing? Like, you allow this person, like, to literally go into your brain and literally just manipulate you to the extent that you start believing their own filth, dong that they're spewing to you. Come on, people, we need to do better. Like, this is just crazy. It's just the idea that she says, I need this mattress, and therefore I should not be going to jail for this. No, baby love, you ain't above the law. Not even Queen Elizabeth II could even pull that card off. And she, to even put that out there, she's not allowed to drive when she was alive. Because no monarch is allowed to drive on their own under any certain terms. Because if you crash a car and kill somebody, you're not exempt from executed. Now, technically, she could be exempt, but that's a whole other story. But that goes to prove the point. What the judge is saying is, you literally have no basis for what you're saying, and you literally, like MD said, went up to the court, like the clerk, to do what? Like, because you used to work there? Like, that's the entitlement for me. Like, how do you feel that entitled to do something after the judge told you not to do it? This is crazy, people. Like, you guys are berserkly nuts. This is like completely Twilight Zone. But I digress, because you are the I was about to say donkey today. You're the lame duck of this week, and they're the first name duck, but there's two. But my God, lady, Miss Peters, I would say do better, but I wish you well, because there's nothing else we could say about this. But bon voyage, I wish you well. You probably might become somebody's granny bitch or prison bitch or whatever bitch it is now, because just don't drop the soap. And if you do drop the soap, just make sure, I'm not even going to go there. She's too old for this. So wish you well, Miss Peters, but do better, because, I mean, my God, that's just dumb. Like, what the F did you just say, lady? Like no. None of that made sense. But lame duck of the week, you are. So Donald Trump, we'll see you next time.
It's just extraordinary how so many MAGA people are going to prison, or going to jail, or going. Just, I mean, it's crazy. They're losing lawsuits. They're losing cases all over the place. They're serving time for a lie, a huge lie. They tried to do a coup on the country, and they're going to go down in history, and it's not going to be a good story for them. So I don't know. Everything's riding on this election. Donald Trump could try to make a lot go away. He will probably make a lot go away. But some of this stuff is going to be hard to rub out. And I don't know how you put all this into one guy, and a guy like that. Like, yeah, it's a little different, when it's an honorable person and you're like going to bat for that person. But when it's that kind of trash, oh man. And he don't even say words. Like, you don't hear Donald Trump saying any well wishes or anything in the media to like kind of like lighten her image. I mean, you can't do much, but he acts like he himself, he always says he doesn't know. He doesn't know these people. He doesn't know anybody. When they get in trouble, he don't know them. He never know them. So it's just crazy to me. But, this is a first. We still got another one. But before we go to the other one, we got to go to, oh God, MD, help me out with that.
Come on, man. You don't know how to pronounce your ancient African pronouns and nouns, bro. This is a proper noun, African Ta-Nehisi.
Man, come on,
You should know that, man, my brother.
God, that's a hard one, man. It's not like his name is Dikembe Mutombo. I mean, that just flies off the tongue, sir.
Well, you gotta say it enough time. Ta-Nehisi.
Oh Lord! All right, so we're about to
a long emphasis on the Ta-Nehisi.
I don't know if I could do all that ton, sir. I don't know about that tunning, massa. Yeah, let's go to that video now. It's a pretty interesting controversy here. It deals with multiple aspects, and a lot of this is in MD's wheelhouse for sure. You'll see what I mean.
Today, the Associated Press released a new poll of black registered voters. It shows each candidate's strengths and weaknesses on key issues. Over 70% of black voters trust Kamala Harris to handle health care and abortion policy. 67% trust her to address gun violence and climate change. But on the war between Israel and Hamas, Harris's support among black registered voters drops to 46%. Over the past year, multiple surveys have shown that the war in Gaza is a divisive issue for Democrats and one that black Democrats in particular feel a connection to. That connection between the struggle of black people in the United States and the struggle of Palestinians in the Middle East is something that best-selling author Ta-Nehisi Coates explores in his new book, The Message. He travels to Senegal, South Carolina, Israel, and the occupied Palestinian territories to report on what he witnessed firsthand. He writes, "For as sure as my ancestors were born into a country where none of them was the equal of any white man, Israel was revealing itself to be a country where no Palestinian is ever the equal of any Jewish person anywhere."
But there's been much more attention given to the latter part, those in Israel and the occupied West Bank. It all started with this appearance on CBS this morning, which was anything but standard morning talk. Watch.
I imagine if I took your name out of it, took away the awards and the acclaim, took the cover off the book, the publishing house goes away, the content of that section would not be out of place in the backpack of an extremist. So I think the question is central and key. If Israel has a right to exist, and if your answer is no, then I guess the question becomes, why do the Palestinians have a right to exist? Why do 20 different Muslim countries have a right to exist?
My answer is that no country in this world establishes its ability to exist through rights. Countries establish their ability to exist through force.
Well, this week, CBS News executive said this interview failed to meet the network's editorial standards. But some journalists and media critics have actually come out in defense of it, calling the line of questioning just good journalism. Even book reviews have taken a sharp turn. Compact Magazine published a review with the incendiary title, "Why Ta-Nehisi Coates Hates Israel." Helen Andrews writes in part, quote, "The problem with Israel is that it shames him. How can it be that the Jews carved their Israel out of the desert, and yet no place in Africa, least of all Liberia, remotely resembles Wakanda?" Andrews goes on to say Jewish people, quote, "overcame the hostility of the world to succeed where Garvey and Co. failed. That, and not any resemblance to Jim Crow, is the reason Coates hates Israel so bitterly." With me now to discuss all of this and more is Ta-Nehisi Coates, author of The Message. So,
wow, that was really racist.
That was
pretty racist.
I wanted to start with that because I know that you are trying to.
I'm sorry, I haven't seen that.
I know, and I know that you are not seeing the reviews. I know you're not. You told me that you were not going to see the reviews or read what's going on about this.
I'm actually surprised.
But this one cut through for me, and I wanted to ask you about it because of the fact that in some ways it actually reinforces a lot of what you wrote in your book. But what is your reaction to that?
I mean, she didn't read the book because the book is about, essentially, it's a critique of nationalism at large. And it talks about Liberia, like, weirdly enough. I mean, and that, that is what it is. I don't want to get into, policing people's reviews. The thing that catches me is the carved part, right? Because that's exactly what I was talking about. I mean, it is like people say, this is not colonialism, while speaking colonial language. You know what I mean? Like this notion that you carved yourself out of the desert as though, once again, the natural world was somehow empty. There's no one there, to say nothing about this idea of use of force. I mean, it is, I'm sorry, I'm a little stunned.
For context, can you talk to me and to the people watching right now about how you first thought of Israel in a civil rights context back in the days of the case for reparations, your article in The Atlantic.
Probably the honest answer is I didn't think much about it. I now think that there was a kind of default Zionism probably all around me, within the profession, within the other reporters, within my editors. There certainly wasn't any talk of Palestinian rights or anything like that around me, and I think I just didn't think about it. I probably had a vague skepticism, somewhere in the back of my head. I talk about that in the book, but it just, this is the greatest sin of all. It was erased in my mind, as a kind of issue. And when the case for reparations came out, it was immediately brought to my attention that it was a problem, and then regularly brought to my attention after it. And the critique was convincing. The critique being your mention of reparations paid to Israel by the German government. That was spoke about in a fashion that was not critical in the case for reparations. Well, not even not critical. It wasn't curious. I think that was the biggest thing, was there was no curiosity about what those reparations had wrought. And that was very, very important, because the case for reparations was not just about money. It was a moral case. Yeah. And so, you really do have to ask the question, is this the best example? And to understand that question, you have to be curious about what it wrought. And that was my sin. So you decide to make a trip. COVID happens. Yes. You make this trip is somewhat delayed. And then you finally go over to see occupied territories. You're in Hebron, in the West Bank. And I'll just read an excerpt from what you saw while you were there. I walked out to buy some goods from a shopkeeper. But before I could get there, a soldier walked out from a checkpoint, blocked my path, and asked me to state my religion. He looked at me skeptically when I told him I did not have one, and asked for my parents' religion. When I told him they were not religious either, he rolled his eyes and asked about my grandparents. When I told him they were Christian, he allowed me to pass. Talk to me about what that experience was like. See, that's very, very important, right? That question is not, do you accept Christ as your savior? That's not what he's asking. When you start asking about my mother, my grandmother, you're asking questions about ancestry. And so when people criticize Israeli policy as racist, that's what they mean. You think that's the essence of it? Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah, definitely, definitely. I will add into that soldier was nominally black. And, I say all the time in my work, or I've said in the past in my work, that race is a social construct. This was the place where I saw it, with my own eyes. It really is. It really, really is. And, Alex, it was an intense 10 days. I was not prepared for it. I knew I was going to see something. I was going to be beyond, what, but I did not expect to feel myself thrown back into the world of my parents and my grandparents, and that was what I experienced. Do you think, it's such a visceral sort of emotional content here and what you saw, and then you see the way that the struggle of the Palestinians has echoed so profoundly among Black Americans here in the United States. Can you talk a little bit more about the intersectionality? Intersectionality is kind of derided as a sort of woke leftist concept, but there really is, I think, a kinship, quite obvious. You see it in polling, right? Just Black registered voters, right? No particular subsect, but Black Americans see something in the Palestinian struggle, and I wonder if you could talk a little bit about what they see is Jim Crow. What they see is, and I want to be very, very explicit about that. Okay, so when I'm on the West Bank, there are one set of roads that are for Israeli settlers. There is another set of roads that are for Palestinians. These roads are not equal, by which I mean it takes longer to traverse if you're on a road for Palestinians. There are checkpoints along the way. Sometimes checkpoints appear out of nowhere. The criminal justice system is different. If you're an Israeli settler there, you are subject to the civil justice system with all the rights that we're accompanied to in the civil justice system. If you're a Palestinian, you're subject to the military justice system, which means you can be arrested and nobody has to tell you why you're arrested. Nobody has to tell your family where you are. You could effectively be disappeared. I'll never forget, I was standing on a farm with one family, and there was a road through it, and the gentleman's all of his land was brown. And I looked across the road, and all of the land was green. You know what I mean? He says, settlers over here, this is us. And that is because he does not control his access to his water. Even though, he is living on the land, he is equal as a human being, his rights are not actually the same. Black folks know that. Like it took
They
me one
understand
day.
that.
I saw it. I mean, it was immediately clear to me what was going on. And what I was left with and what I tried to tackle in the book is how it can be that our organs of storytelling, from film, TV, down to journalism, have failed so much to tell this story as it actually is, drained of moral content, drained of any sense of values, in a land that prides itself as the oldest democracy in the world.
All right. There we go. Tahisi Coates, MD, what did you get out of that package we just saw, especially with the whole black identifying with Palestinians plight?
Go easy, MD.
Nah, it's good. I believe I persuaded Venkat to do this story because I think it's important, because it looks at two defining factors of U.S. relations with Israel from both sides right now, and I'm glad because it's from a black perspective, and I think it's important for us to have this conversation. So I've grown weary of how a certain sect has treated the Israel-Palestine situation as a one issue defining toward this election. I don't think that's fair. That's me personally. I don't. The progressives have made an effort to make it a one issue type thing toward that particular group. I don't think us as black people have that luxury. I think if you're a progressive and you're a one issue voter toward Palestine, that means you have the luxury to be that. Would you agree? I'm talking to you specifically, Venkat, because you like to tout the progressives. Would
I'm
you?
a progressive. I'm a progressive through and
That's
through.
fine. That's fine. But I ain't got no issue with being a progressive. Again, I've always said I think the world is naturally progressive. But the progressives have ulterior motives. Now, specifically talking to you, do you believe that being a one issue voter toward Palestine is a positive or a negative?
That's a negative.
Okay, but okay, cool. A lot of the people that you like to bring to the forefront that's a issue. Would you agree with that?
It is an issue because it could sacrifice bigger things.
Okay,
Right.
all right, okay. As long as you able to relent to that, that's fine.
Yep.
What I'm saying is, as far as black people, yes, we can empathize with what's going on with Gaza because we can see historically what has happened to an oppressed group of people from the oppressor. We can identify with that. Maybe more than anybody else. I don't care what nobody say about Jewish oppression. Okay, that's fine. It ain't got nothing on black oppression worldwide. That's the only black you're gonna get out of me for the night. In the sense of how we look at that issue versus the totality of what's happening in America, I think is on one of the bottom issues on the list. Now that may sound harsh, but I'm just dealing in facts. We can empathize with it, but it's not a determining factor for us. If we're gonna look at it demographically, it's not. Ta-Nehisi Coates merely observed what he saw, made a correlation, and wrote about it. That's all he did from a bare bones standpoint. And for him to get this type of backlash, even to the point where you racially connotate what Liberia was and compare that to Israel, like what type of, you can't get no more racist than that. Israel was created and was given everything it needed to succeed.
Facts.
Liberia didn't get that.
Facts. Thank you for bringing
They
that.
throw some niggas on some land in Africa and said, here y'all go don't come to America no more. Y'all got this. You know what I'm saying? We gonna invest in the appropriation of the land. That's it.
Mm-mm-mm.
And then didn't officially get recognized until decades later as a nation. Taft recognized Liberia. So like how can you even make that comparison? You got first of all, you got to be a dumbass, man. You don't know the history of Liberia.
It's awkward. It was a very awkward moment. Very awkward.
Like this is crazy.
Yeah, very awkward
And,
moment.
these are coming from reputable people. Now I'm on the fence because you know I'm a fan of Audible. Everybody knows once a month I do books. I'm trying to choose between this book because I really want to get into the depths of why people feel the way they feel so hard. I mean, I know part of why, but I want to get my own personal view, behind what he says in the book. Either that, or I want to get this Bob Woodward book. I'm probably going toward the Bob Woodward book. But it's sad that it's such a false narrative placed behind Israel, which is almost looked at as an extension of America. Why, I don't know. That it would be in you will be such in defense mode to where you would say something so. I mean, that's clear cut racism. Liberia, like that's crazy. That is. When I saw that, I said, yeah, you can't. Ta-Nehisi Coates was looking like, what the hell? I don't blame him. I don't blame him at all. But hey, that's the time we living in, and I can probably guarantee you. See, here's the cutter right here, Van Cat.
Yep.
I can guarantee you. I'm willing to place a wager that particular book review magazine is probably on the progressive leaning side. I can almost guarantee it.
Yeah. You just,
I'm just being real.
It'll be interesting to see. It'll be interesting to see.
Because progressives have, all progressives ain't alike. You got some progressives that are very pro-Israel.
Yeah.
But the mainstream progressive talking points as of now is anti-Israel, which is cool. I ain't got no issue with, but don't make it a one issue subject. Go ahead. That's all I have. Go ahead, Ricardo.
Oh my God! So I'm on the fence with this one because I was so confused by the whole thing and the whole the whole hysteria and the whole it's very confusing, this whole thing with the controversy that came about from it and the confusion and all of that. So I don't know if he was for pro-Israel or he was against, and he's been there 10 times, and it's just I'll just say this. When it comes to, and I've always said this to people, like, you got to know the historical context of what you're talking about. Like, it's one thing for me. I love history because it's one of those things. I get easily bored when I was in school, but the one thing I would tell you that really grabbed me was always history, geography, civics, and maybe languages if I'm lucky, because your boy always see a fine cutie here and there. But that's a whole different question and thing in its whole entirety. But when you confuse Liberia, which, if you don't know this country's history and its affiliation to Liberia, you're kind of like missing the point. So I was kind of confused as for how he conflate Liberia's strife with Israel, but yet MD brought up a good point. Israel has always gotten what they wanted. Did Liberia get everything that they wanted? No. If we're going to go by the 1945 convention that came about, because a lot of people, and I hear so much people who want to lecture me and go on and on. Israel was never a state until 1945. Lest we forget, Palestine is how Israel, that entire region, was called. If you don't believe me, you want to go back to the old historical maps, you can look at them. If you don't believe me completely, go and look into your old Bibles. It will show you Palestine. It's literally what that whole region was called. So when we're going to go into that context of, if you don't know the 1945 convention and what it was, it created the state of Israel. So this is why we have this issue now where it's like, so if the context, the powers to be of the nations decided that, hey, we need to, after the war, create a state for the Jews to be in. And so they were like, okay, hey, well, let's just put them in this area called Palestine, just call it Israel. The problem with that is Palestine was always there. So you can't just come in and then go, oh, we're just going to plant people there. It creates a conflict, which is now what we have, what we call a powder keg. Because now you have people saying, wait, hold up, wait a minute. We've always been called this name. So now you come in and change the name and then people here. And then how is this going to work out? Slowly but surely, if you look at every map you've seen of Palestine, it literally dwindled to what you see now of what is like Israel, where you have part like, I guess you say like what, the Gaza Strip, and then you have like, so it's split in evenly in between. It's like, it's hard for me to explain. If you look back on the maps, it will show you. There's so much things you could look at. This is where Miss Britannia, the Britannica encyclopedias and all that we used to have back in the day. It's just weird hearing him explain the whole Liberia thing, and then this whole thing with Israel, and then so maybe let me just see. Maybe I'll give him the benefit of the doubt. All of now is the main issue with the bombardment and all of that, because I've always said this, if you hit me, I'm gonna hit you back. So
Hey, Ricardo, you had just dropped off.
Did I?
Yeah, you had just dropped off, and then I just put you back on. This is probably what was happening with Mike,
Yeah, I don't know what's going on.
because you kept talking, and then I put you back on, and I continued hearing you talking, so you didn't even realize it. But yeah, you dropped off, and I put you back on. So I think Mike thinking I'm doing that on purpose. I'm not doing anything.
I don't know if that
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I think Mike pissed with you, man. I don't know what.
Yeah.
Right, Sir Van Cat, what did we do
Yeah.
to you?
Yeah, I don't silence people's voices here. I actually I require people to say as much as possible, because tape machines are rolling, folks. And when those tape machines roll and they play back at a certain time, views and opinions are changed very quickly.
I was cut off by Van Cat, Sir Extraordinary. Like, what is going on here? But no, what I was trying to explain was his conflating the point of Liberia's strife compared to Israel, and I was going into the historical context of, hey, Israel, like if y'all don't know the history with this country and Liberia, you need to go back and look back as for how important that is, because Liberia was, if y'all don't know where that is, it's an African country, with strong historical ties into the well, I don't know. Would you say in terms of the black strife, MD? Because I don't know, you said that you can't use black, but in terms of back in the day when the US was like, hey, if y'all want to go back to Africa, you could go back and be free. And so Liberia came about due to that, in terms of the stance of and if you look at Liberia as a country, the flag looks almost identical to the US flag. The people are pretty much almost, if not completely the same genetic DNA. Everything that you have for the black folks that were here back then are affiliated with Liberia. So when he said that and then conflated with Israel strife, I was confused, because like MD said, Israel pretty much got everything they wanted. In fact, even now, they're literally getting everything they wanted. Is the only thing that US does is scold them when they go extreme and then go, oh, we're going to pull back our extreme artillery that we promised to give you if you don't stop, bombing these places and making us look bad. That's the only time you ever see Israel pull back. But 1945 was when Israel became a country. It wasn't called Israel, that area. It was always called Palestine. And a lot of people argue with me with this stance from whatever point of view. I'm going by the historical context because I did history. I know a lot about political science and history and civics. So when it comes to history, I know my stuff. That area was always called Palestine until 1945, when he changed the name, because even passports back then were called Palestinian passports. They weren't Israeli passports until after 1945. So I'm just with the whole thing, but the whole thing is just, for me, I feel like he's particularly the point is kind of going off the rails, and it's kind of confusing, because I feel like if he had just MD, maybe it's just me. So do you feel like this? He was trying to, because we haven't read the books yet. None of us have, I'm sure. But I feel like what he's trying to say is pre-October 6th, when before the whole issue of what happened, what we know happened now. Maybe that's the context that he was going from, as opposed to
No. He was trying to make a correlation between. He did exactly what he was supposed to do. The trip that he went on, he wrote about before. He ain't got nothing to do. He went there twice, according to what I know about.
Well, according
He went. So first he went to Africa, and then he went to South Carolina,
Mm-hmm.
and then he went to Israel. This was pre October the 7th.
Right.
He went there just to show the correlation of the experience. That's all this book is about.
Crazy.
For 10
He
days.
went there twice. He went there. Yeah, he went twice actually. He went the first time he went under the auspices of a viewpoint of a Palestinian. So he walked the same streets as a Palestinian because it's essentially segregation.
Right,
Palestinians can only walk certain streets. He did it under the guise of a Palestinian. The second time he did it just as a tourist, and he could go places where Palestinians couldn't go, and you know what I'm saying?
Right.
So he just did it just to show the correlation. It just so happened the book coming out now.
Right. So now the book is coming up, but of course they were going to harp on him because anything that you put in and even online, because we've said this even when the onset of TFP coming into fruition here, there's certain things you can't see online anymore, and especially when it comes to Israel. Once they harp into the fact that you said Israel online, it's an instant. Oh, he's saying he's anti this. It's like, when did we get to this point where you can't discuss a country and like if you and you're gonna hear me say this because I'm sure somebody's gonna grab something I say and if you hit me, I'm gonna hit you back. If you do something, it's eye for an eye, tooth for tooth. I believe in that. That's always been a mantra for mine. What I do disagree with when it comes to Israel is that they're doing a whole bunch of stuff. For instance, you bombed what you call it, a makeshift hospital like area where you knew fully well that there were civilians there, including, and if you do this because we okay the propaganda machine thing and we could spin out of control anywhere you wanted to do it, we could. You literally bombed innocent people that were attached to IV machines. Why? Because you claimed that Hamas leaders were there in this makeshift hospital when clearly there's no evidence of that. That's where you hear people say, all right, we're going to say certain things against you because that ain't right. You know it's not right. In fact, the U.S. literally said almost, I think, right after the bombardment was that if you continue doing this, we're going to pull our machines that we promised you. And then what did they do after? Okay, well, we'll pull back. That kind of thing is where you're getting this, where people are like saying, oh, the minute you say anything against Israel, it's anti. I don't believe that should be doing. And it comes, and I've said this from the beginning, I'm going to say it again. When the incident happened October the 7th, I said it and I'm going to say it again. We are allowed to say whatever we feel to say when it comes to, you see these things that are not in the correlation or jurisdiction of being correct. You speak out against it because why? Because if you don't, it's just going to continue happening over and over again until somebody sees something. It ain't right, but hey, we have to. That's just the world we live in. We're in a world where we literally see everything go viral. The minute somebody dies as a celebrity, in a hot flash of a second, we know. It's not like the 90s before where it would take a week for that news to hit us here at home. You're literally seeing it in real time. So I don't understand this idea of you thinking you're going to hide things and we're not going to speak against it. That does not make somebody anti-Israel or anti-Jewish or anti-whatnot. It just means people are now waking up, are not going to fall for the propaganda anymore, and that's it. But then I'm still confused with this dude, with this whole thing and him going as such and such, and I'm stepping to walk as a Palestinian, but then I also told him I was Christian. I didn't get it, but then everybody has their own way of going for strife and getting in somebody else's shoes to understand the context of how they feel and all of that.
So Ricardo, you don't see a correlation between Jim Crow apartheid and Israel? Is what you're saying, or?
Yeah, I do. I say I didn't. I mean, it's the same thing with when the South Africans went through the same thing with apartheid. I mean, you kind of, if you didn't realize South Africa is actually speaking out against Israel and what they're doing. I just don't understand where the whole fire is coming from. Like, it's confusing because if I'm
Well, you
out,
know where it's come from. It's come from racism. Is where it's coming from.
I know
And let's be honest. At the end of the day, all this adoration for Israel, we all know where it comes from.
facts.
In a totality standpoint, we know where it comes from. Like, let's just keep it real. This is the problem with society. It's because it's significant to a religious base.
Yeah,
Point blank, period.
ding
Let's
ding.
not kid ourselves here.
I agree with that point.
So the Jews got carte blanche to do whatever the hell they want to do because they're God's chosen people. Point blank, period. Yeah, you can spit on me and you can bomb shit out of me and
No, but
nobody minds.
we feel the
Shalom.
what we fail to realize though, MD, is the fact that most conglomerates, if not most, the how do I put it? Social media, all these multi-million companies are run by Jewish people. It's going to be framed, I guess, for a regular person to say whatever they want to say. It would never work for what I'm. It's literally I'm trying to
You're putting your tinfoil hat on. Go ahead, man. Ain't nothing wrong with it.
because it's true. You can't say any. We can't say anything against what's happening back there, because now it's going to look like it's anti such and such, when really and truly in fact it's just people speaking out against the atrocities. I think it's unfair. Why is it that we're now saying, now MD saying is suffer about Israel, so that makes him anti? No, it was never like that. We should be able to speak and say the atrocities that we're seeing happening here at home on our soil, it shouldn't be happening, because guess what? We always made a promise that we will protect Israel, but that doesn't mean we can't scold you when you're wrong. And you clearly know you're wrong. Like, again, yesterday they bombarded a makeshift hospital area, knowing damn well it's regular civilians, but then saying that they think Hamas leaders are there. That's crazy. I literally watched somebody burned literally on an IV in real time.
Yeah,
And
yeah, that was crazy, man.
that's
That was
crazy.
crazy.
And no one thinks that's not, that they're thinking that's okay. That's not okay. The regular public is not going to fall for that, and that's why you hear me say propaganda now that they're showing now, like they're trying to paint this picture of, but they did such. It doesn't correlate to what we're seeing in real time. It's not going to work. And the more you push this agenda of saying, oh well, anybody who speaks out against Israel is anti-Israel, you're going to get pushback, like people from me, like people like myself, that are going to say, hey, wait a minute now. So when such and such was doing that wasn't anti-Israel, or what? Like, this is crazy. This is not going to work. And this is where I feel like when it comes to the presidential election, you're going to have a problem. The Democrats are in a corner, and so are the Republicans. You either now going to put Israel in their place and tell them no more support until you cut this BS out, because Biden was trying to do that and he couldn't get through to Netanyahu, and he's still doing it. So how do we put a stop to this? I don't know. A two-state solution will always be there, but is it going to work in real time anymore? I don't know. That's
No.
the issue. And Russia said they're going to back Iran, and then you have the other side. So it's like a powder keg waiting to happen all over again. We're going back into the 90s. It's like history repeating itself. This is crazy to me. How we're not seeing this, I would never understand. But now, what I'm trying to articulate and say now is the propaganda that Israel would usually push is not working now. It just doesn't work for today's standards. We're not going to fall for it, because you literally, if I can watch in real time, see somebody's hands burned on an IV, that is traumatizing to watch. Not to say that anything else isn't, but that you literally did that in real time yesterday, and we all saw what that looked like. If y'all didn't see it, I don't know if they're still showing it online, but it's clear cut, and I saw it on social
Yeah,
media.
it's sick, man. It's sick.
So I don't care what nobody says. You could call me whatever you want to say, but that ain't right, and you know it's not right. And other countries are beginning to call out the BS, including the rest that are there. And if it means that we're gonna block and stop selling or doing whatever we need to do to send a message, people are gonna do it. You can't you can't stop people from seeing what they see with their eyes. They're gonna speak out and they're gonna retaliate against what they see. But I just find it unfortunate that people are now seeing, and bringing all this racist rhetoric, which again, that's what I was saying. This whole thing with the guy I feel like it's like everybody was jumping on a bandwagon because he said something about Israel. It's like, oh no, let's jump on him because he's like that has nothing to do with anything. It's a book that he's writing about. But I digress. This is nuts. I'm sorry, but it's crazy that we're in a world now. You can't say anything about Israel. That's crazy to me.
Yeah, they definitely deserve criticism. Benjamin Netanyahu needs to be tried for war crimes, and it's just not good. It's not.
He will be tried one day. I just don't know if it's gonna be now, but he will eventually.
Yeah, and it just seems like we're going to ever expand this so-called war. I don't think it's a war. I think it's one thing is
Just a
dropping
slaughter
bombs.
is what it is.
Yeah, they just dropping bombs and people just dying. That's not a war.
And from what I'm hearing now that they got boots on the ground in Lebanon, it ain't working out too good. So,
yep,
I believe you should go back to dropping the bombs because you sure as hell can't fight. And that's been a known trope about Israel for a long time. When it's time to like put your ass in the dirt and go one-on-one, Israel ain't too good at doing that.
Wow.
But you really ain't got to do it when the U.S. and the UK and all these countries give you bombs to drop on top of folks' head. You ain't really got to do that.
Mm-hmm. So you know what it is. Facts.
Man, if everybody pulled out of Israel, bro, Israel will be a sitting duck. Everybody know that.
They know
of course. Yeah, they're doing a great job of making people hate them more. It's just crazy. Like, there's no entertaining the ceasefire at all. It's just like, this is ridiculous. It happened on October 7th of last year. What are we doing here? It makes no sense. It should be a done. I wouldn't even call it.
It's almost like they done said to hell with the hostages. We don't care about them no more.
Not at all. They might drop the bomb on the hostages. I mean,
it's not funny at all, but it's the reality. You know what I'm saying?
Accuracy is not important. They already said that one. Accuracy is not important.
It's sad, man.
Yeah.
Wakanda. What type of stuff is that, man? How can I take you seriously? Like, we're supposed to have our Wakanda. Wow.
Stanley made up something in them. Stanley made up something in Marvel Comics, and they going with that one. All right, man. All right. So, we're going to go into the last duck of the night. Just wanted to say real quick, I don't know if anybody realized, but there was a attempted, or seemed to be attempted, third attempt on Donald Trump.
God.
Yeah, I mean, the guy had guns and a fake ID and everything. So,
what third time's a charm, Van Cat. What was he?
Yeah, he was
a MAGA maniac.
He was a Republican. Again, all three of these people attempting to kill Trump are all Republicans. And then we have rhetoric where J.D. Vance and others are saying that the left is trying to kill Trump, which is crazy.
And I just want to bring up another point. We didn't talk about this, but let's talk about how crazy it is that this whole rhetoric about the natural disasters of Helene and Milton is forcing people now to like not get FEMA funding because of the spewing lies that this fool and his sycophants are spreading and putting FEMA people at risk. This is crazy. Like, this is what we're doing. Like, again, you're not taking the funding because you think the president, based on what the president's saying, all this nonsense, it's nuts. But you know what? We're in the third week before the election, so we'll see what happens. But my gosh, man, it's amazing what lies and spews and rhetoric can do to people. It really is.
Yeah, real quick, I saw a story about that. It was a guy that he said that he was talking to his dad that lives in that area in North Carolina near Asheville.
Yep.
And told him to get out, and because of the stuff that Trump said,
he wouldn't go.
And now we can't get in touch with him.
Yep.
That's crazy, man. I'm telling you, sycophants, man. Sycophants.
So, speaking of that, let's go to the lame duck. I'll just bypass the intro and go right into the segment. And we'll talk about that right now.
You know, we've been in constant contact, and they've been very thankful and appreciative of the help the federal government is providing. And I'm appreciative of all they're doing as well. And I've told them to contact me with anything else they need. We have made available an unprecedented number of assets to deal with this crisis. We're going to continue to do so until the job is done. But now I want to be clear about something. Over the last few weeks, there's been a reckless, irresponsible, and relentless promotion of disinformation and outright lies that are disturbing people. It's undermining confidence in the incredible rescue and recovery work that has already been taken and will continue to be taken. And it's harmful to those who need help the most. There's simply no place for this to happen. Former President Trump has led the onslaught of lies. Assertions have been made that property is being confiscated. That's simply not true. They're saying people impacted by these storms will receive $750 in cash and no more. That's simply not true. They're saying the money is needed for this crisis is being diverted to migrants. What a ridiculous thing to say. It's not true. Now the claims are getting even more bizarre. Congresswoman Marjorie Taylor Greene, a congresswoman of Georgia, is now saying the federal government is literally controlling the weather. We're controlling the weather. It's beyond ridiculous. It's got to stop. In moments like this, there are no red or blue states. There's one United States of America, where neighbors are helping neighbors. Volunteers and first responders are risking everything, including their own lives, to help their fellow Americans. State, local, and federal officials are standing side by side. Let me repeat, no one should make the American people question whether their governments will make sure that this disaster when it strikes, they'll be there. We will, all of us. I'm going to turn it over to Vice President Harris, if that's okay with all of you. Thank you.
President Trump addressed the storm during a rally in Pennsylvania yesterday. However, he continued to spread the false claim that FEMA is diverting disaster relief funds to migrants. CBS News political correspondent Caitlin Huey-Burns brings us more from the Trump campaign trail. Caitlin, what is the Trump team saying about this storm? And as usual, you'll have to fact check whether or not it's accurate.
Errol, good to see you. We are in Detroit, where the former president is set to give an economic speech, but he has been commenting on the hurricane that just hit his home state of Florida. Remember, he has 3 properties in Florida, all on the eastern side of the state, so not affected by the path of this storm. But this could have made this storm personal for him. I've been covering him all week. He's been warning residents about the power of the storm, but he's also, of course, been spreading misinformation about hurricanes happening not only in Florida, but also the devastation in North Carolina. As you mentioned, he has falsely claimed that FEMA is diverting funds from recovery efforts to undocumented immigrants. That's not true. He's also been criticizing the Biden-Harris administration for their response, saying that she was taping a podcast interview instead of visiting residents in North Carolina. That also was not true. Both candidates have been campaigning throughout all of this. And what's particularly of note here is that you've had Republicans coming out and warning against the spread of misinformation. You had a Republican congressman in North Carolina issuing a statement this week debunking some of the conspiracies that have been flying out there. Governor Ron DeSantis yesterday in a press conference warned members of residents of Florida to, vet everything they're seeing. Don't believe some of the disinformation that's out there, and kind of raising concerns and urging people to kind of follow local warnings from local officials.
2 campaign rallies over the weekend in the battleground states of Wisconsin and Pennsylvania. Former President Donald Trump falsely suggested that there is meager assistance for the Americans who lost everything but their lives from Hurricane Helene, that they were not being offered much by the federal government.
They send hundreds of billions of dollars to foreign nations, and you know what they're giving our people? $750. They're offering them $750 to people whose homes have been washed away.
That would be shocking if it were true that that's all that the federal government was offering these disaster victims. But it's not. On a page called Hurricane Helene Rumor Response, FEMA called the claim false, describing that as just one form of assistance to help people cover essential items like food and water and other emergency supplies in the short term. FEMA goes on to highlight how those victims of this disaster can also apply for temporary housing and personal property and home repair costs. That is not the only false claim that Donald Trump is spreading. Take a listen.
They've given over $1 billion to illegal migrants that came in, and now they have no money for North Carolina, for Georgia, for South Carolina, and Alabama, Tennessee, and Florida.
North Carolina Senator Tom Tillis, a Trump-backing Republican, pushed back on that claim yesterday.
We could have a discussion about the failure of this administration's border policies and the billions of dollars it's costing, but right now, not yet is it affecting the flow of resources to Western North Carolina.
It is not a factor, to be clear. Okay.
Not at this time.
There's also this claim that Trump posted on Truth Social saying that he doesn't, quote, like the reports that I'm getting about the federal government and the Democrat governor of the state of North Carolina going out of their way to not help people in Republican areas, unquote. It's not exactly clear what reports Mr. Trump is referring to, but you should take a listen to what a Republican governor in a neighboring state had to say about the treatment that South Carolina, a ruby red state, is getting.
What has been the ongoing kind of federal assistance for South Carolina?
It's been superb. We're getting assistance.
There's also this statement from Virginia Governor Glenn Youngkin, another Republican, thanking President Biden for his, quote, support and continued coordination to provide assistance to Virginians in need, unquote. These false statements are having an impact on the very people who have been impacted by this deadly and financially devastating storm. Just ask North Carolina State Senator Kevin Corbin, who posted on Facebook last Thursday, quote, will you all help stop this conspiracy theory junk that is floating all over Facebook and the internet about the floods in Western North Carolina? Example, FEMA is stealing money from donations. I just talked to one senator that has had 15 calls today about why we don't stop fill in the blank. 98% chance it's not true. And if it is a problem, someone is aware and on it, unquote. When you listen to folks on the ground in the community in North Carolina, where my mom is from, it sounds a lot like what we heard from officials in Springfield, Ohio, after Trump and Vance falsely claimed that Haitian migrants were eating their neighbors' cats and dogs. Those same Republican officials in Ohio called those claims a distraction from the real challenge, which is an influx of legal migrants, straining resources such as schools and hospitals and housing, creating a situation that needs to be addressed, needs to be discussed, but isn't eating people's pets. This same misinformation, these lies about FEMA, also a distraction, hindering recovery efforts, taking away from the real problem, hundreds dead, dozens missing, communities that will need to be rebuilt from the ground up, and also legitimate questions about whether FEMA and the Biden administration responded as quickly and as efficiently as they should have. All these lies are not helping focus on the real questions.
Can you guys hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you now. Yeah.
All right. Do you see YouTube?
I mean, it says that I can't. I mean, I'm on StreamYard.
All right, you see it now?
Yeah, I can see YouTube.
The overlay is still up. The lame duck overlay.
Yeah. No.
All right. So this is what MD was talking about. Give me 1 second.
Helene response and recovery. Meanwhile, a North Carolina man is blaming former President Trump for his father-in-law's refusal to get help from FEMA. A man identifying himself as Anthony called into the Dan Abrams show on Sirius XM saying his father-in-law in Asheville only believes the former president, and it is actually breaking up our family.
My father-in-law lives just outside of Asheville, North Carolina, and he was badly damaged by Hurricane Helene, and he has refused all FEMA help because he's a hardcore Trumper, and he literally believes that if he accepts anything from FEMA, they're going to take his house. I don't understand how so many people are under the spell of this freaking con man. I don't understand it.
Well, it's absolutely heartbreaking about your father-in-law. I'm so sorry.
to hear it. I hope.
Dan, it's hard to even imagine it. I mean, he lost almost everything, and he's refusing all help from the federal government and complaining to us that he doesn't have food, that he doesn't have the stuff he needs, and yet he won't accept the help. What the hell are we supposed to do? We're not in a position to be able to fly across the country and help him. Yeah. There's people begging us to get him to accept help, and he won't do it.
Wow.
And I guarantee you, I'm not the only one. I guarantee you, I'm not the only one.
I wish there was something I could say as to, I don't know. Does he have access to any electronics where you could send him some information debunking this, and that he might?
We've done all of that. We've done all of that. We've sent him all the FEMA bulletins. We've sent him all the stuff from the fact checkers. He doesn't believe it. He thinks it's all, he just believes Trump. Literally, Dan, it's a cult. He's a cult member. I'm sorry to say it. He's a cult member. And he's my father-in-law, and it sucks.
Just one story there after the storm. Joining us now.
Now that's that man's family member.
Yep.
That lets you know how deep this thing goes. Now it's coming back to me. So what it was it was a conspiracy that if you accepted FEMA funding, they was going to basically eminently domain your house, because they were saying that it was supposed to be some type of cobalt reserves in that area, and they wanted to steal everybody's house so they can get the cobalt. Like, bro, like this is insane. This is insane. And these are even this type of stuff.
Yeah, they're attacking
to talk about
FEMA workers. They're attacking the FEMA workers
too.
I
saw a report. I saw a report today. Some FEMA workers left that area because they were under threat of some type of militia that came up there. A militia.
Not feeling safe. This is what we're doing. This is what rhetoric is doing to this country.
And I'm probably gonna break up a little bit, Venkat, because I'm in Klan land. So.
So let's get on to it now. Let me do the proper introduction, because this is the OG duck. This man has been lame duck more than any man breathing on planet Earth. This piece of piling steam of trash is the standard bearer for pieces of trash, human garbage every week. The weakest of the weak. We're talking about Donald J. Dump Truck Trump, number 60 variety. This week's October 15th, Trash Bag Human of the Week, Lame Duck Donald J. Trump. And what we have seen is an illustration of what is at stake here and the tactics in how he does it. In the piece, they were able to correlate how all these falsehoods, lies, and deceptions seem eerily similar and consistent with the Haitian eating pets movement, courtesy of Donald J. Trump. Now, if a man can't tell the truth, which, by the way, in his 4 years as president, he said over 30,000 lies. Over 30,000 lies, averaging 21 lies a day. And this is the piece of crap mother trucker that I'm supposed to believe is somehow not only going to pave a path of prosperity for black males, but Americans in general. He is simultaneously frigging up this country, taking credit for anything good that predecessors have done, and in the process has shown no tendency to do the work necessary to have the job that he's campaigning for, which, by the way, he's campaigning to stay out of prison. He ain't campaigning to make your life better. And this piece of crap has Americans divided, has all these issues, and still we have house niggas going right there to this guy right now. The amount of trauma. Did you hear the way that guy's voice sound as he was talking on the radio about his family member being duped by a classic snake oil salesman, Donald Trump? Now, I don't understand why people are falling for this, but I see it. I saw it years back. But some people, I guess it takes them a while. But this is the same guy that was telling us to pump bleach in our ass. And then at the end of it, did not get any heat for saying that. And for some reason, the Dr. Fauci that told you to put a mask on and stay 6 feet away was the guy that got all the heat. So again, it's amazing how there is no sense of urgency to call a nigga out. And this is a cracker nigga. To call a cracker nigga out on the bull crap that he's done. It's dangerous, it's stupid, it's irresponsible, and a lot of this nonsense will not age well. Tape machines are rolling, tape machines are rolling. Ricardo, what do you think about this lame duck, number 60, Donald J. Trump?
Yeah, man, it's so sad. I don't understand how people get so embroiled and caught up into the rhetoric that you're not taking assistance and help after experiencing a natural disaster as extreme as and Milton. Like, that's nuts. But it goes to show that these sycophants and these people that believe the rhetoric are really doubled down into it. What happens when at this particular juncture, when you're so knee deep into the dog poop, you can't. How do you climb out of it? Like, I just don't understand. Like, literally, this man sounds like he's about to cry because he's like, I'm not in no position to fly all the way across the country to help him. The help is there. It's literally right in front of him. He's just refusing on account of the person says such and such, and it's people says such and such. This is not how we're supposed to be doing stuff, people. This is crazy. And this is where you hear me say I can never fall for propaganda, because cult-like things and how people do things should be a wake-up call. Have we not learned from James? What was that? Was it Jonestown? With in Grenada, when they had was it Grenada or Guyana? I think it was Guyana, where they had all those people drink the damn cyanide and kill themselves.
Oh, you mean the Guyana tragedy from Jim Jones?
With Jim Jones. Like, it's to this extent where people are willing to believe any and everything somebody says and not look at the probable and notable cause. What like, this is nuts. In all my life, I've never thought I would live to see this, but here we are. This is crazy. People, stop that. You just experienced one of the worst natural disasters to hit this region, which is in Florida and North Carolina and the rest of the other areas that were widely affected. Please get help, and please stop. If you're doing this, stop trying to intimidate and try to use scare tactics to put fear mongering into people to attack FEMA workers. This is not fair to them. These are people that volunteer their time to go out and help people in need that need the help and assistance. I've literally watched over the years how FEMA representative and people that go out of their way to help in natural disasters get attacked for what we're doing. Like, if it's a nurse, doctor, whatever, we're literally getting these cases where people are literally doing the most, try to discredit these people. Stop doing that. That's not fair to these people that really take the time out to go help other people in need. What are we doing? This is what this country is doing now, on account of trying to get somebody that they feel should be empowered. This is nuts. This is why you see me say I can't vote for certain people, because that doesn't fall in beliefs of what I stand for. I don't stand for this. This is not necessary. It's unnecessary, and it's foolish. It's getting down to the ridiculousness of people just believing what they want to believe. It's common sense, folks. If it walks like a duck, talks like a duck, it is a duck. The guy is literally selling you a pipe dream. He's a snake of record sorts. Like, he's been doing this from the 90s. But now you literally know the facts. people are fact checking you, and you're still willing to believe the moron that told you to drink bleach during COVID to try to cure. Like, what are we doing? Like, common sense tells you can't drink something corrosive. You would literally die from it. Did you not from World War II? Like what are we doing? So we're doing now. We're literally like discrediting people. We're literally trying to help people in need and trying to set militia off to go kill them. Like, this is what we're doing to. This is nuts, America. Wake, stop smelling the dung, listening to the dung. This orange blob of a dung telling you nonsense with his sycophants to preach not to y'all, and y'all willing to fall across the bridge to jump over the ledge. That's crazy. This is nuts. There's nothing else we can do. We can force people to drink water, like to the river to drink water. You're not. What we tell you is wake up and smell when you spew to you. You are able to know it and differentiate nonsense and common sense. Now, when you need help, take the help because it's there. No one's forcing you to not take the help. The help is right in front of you. The government's literally saying, hey, food, necessities, things of that nature to your affected area, and you're saying no? On account that the president is correct in his nuts. But you know what? This is America that we live in. So, there's nothing else me, MD, Venkat, or Mir, or Mr. Straight Talk can do but tell you, just do things wisely, man. Like, this is not the way to go. But whatever y'all want to do, it at this point, it's all on you in the end. We can't do anything but just encourage you to be smart and wise. That's it.
All right, thanks, Ricardo. MD, what do you think about Trash Bag Human of the Week, number 60, DJT?
Yeah, it's so funny, man. And like I said, this is the world we living in, dealing with the MAGA maniac, with him touting these conspiracies about FEMA funding. When he was trying to get funding to build a wall, he was having a hard time getting it congressionally. So what did he do? He went to the Army Corps of Engineers in their emergency funding, which is appropriated by who? FEMA. When he didn't know what to do with the migrants that was coming across the border and couldn't get it passed through Congress, what did he do? He went to FEMA to get the money through emergency appropriation and basically put them in an internment camp. How is it that the common American citizen don't know this stuff? And yet, when he says something that's clearly false, no research is done to solidify what he said. This is bizarre, man. It's bizarre. You think that he's going to get rid of millions upon millions of people and get them out of the country just like that? Just Thanos snap, and they're gone. That's what you think is going to happen? Where do you think that money is going to come from? And these are the people that are supposed to be, quote unquote, fiscally conservative. I used to be like that. I used to be a fiscal conservative until I started reading books and stuff like that. Then I smartened up. Well, like, where do they think this money is going to come from? And then you such in a high mind mentality where you done got washed out of house and home in floods up in the mountains, and you're not going to receive assistance because you think the government going to come through and take your property away. Hey, these are some sick people, man. And you think we supposed to try to convince them why Trump is a bad? You can't. Ain't no convincing with that type of person. They gone. It's over. There's nothing you can do. You got to leave them. Save yourself. That's where I'm at with
it. It's like the apocalypse, and we're telling you to go, and you don't want to go. We can't force you. It is what it is. You made that choice. That's the choice you make. It's crazy.
Right.
Crazy.
So that's the theme of the night. dealing with a lot of these tropes that are being put out. They ain't, the fable, Aesop fable, hey, some people you just can't save, bro. That's the lesson that we learned from all of this in this topic for tonight. Some people you just can't save them. It's over with. It might be somebody that's near and dear to you. You just gotta let them go, man. You just gotta let them go. You shed a tear, and that's about all you can do. And that's the reality.
So I'm on Google right now, and I remembered back when Trump told everyone to inject bleach in the ass. His followers are so far gone that there were actual people simultaneously at that month putting bleach up the ass, literally. And as a result, I can't say it no other way. I can't sugarcoat this crap. We got to get the baby. I ain't mashing bananas anymore. Eat the damn whole banana. I mean, I can't compensate for this crap no more. You got to be real about it and look at it from an objective point of view here. Now, they're actually using that chloroquine crap, which is a cleaner for fish tanks. And they put that in their, they ingested that and put that in their body. They put bleach in their body. There was a couple, I remember seeing that story right here. A couple actually took bleach and to combat COVID-19. The man died, right? And the woman was hospitalized. It is crazy. This stuff is real. They are really that far gone with it. Like they have listened to everything they're saying, everything he's saying, disregarded all news sources. Don't get me wrong, right? News is ran by human beings, so of course it's going to be flawed. But it's overwhelmingly going to give you the most accurate information that you can get. And what's not accurate, well, that's for you to do the work, as MD would say, and figure that out. But when a hurricane comes, everybody's strapped up to that news channel to find out that information. All of a sudden, that's accurate. But Trump has convinced everyone that the one group of people that can debunk him are the ones that are not right, that are not trustworthy. So that now he has nothing to check him. So all these words just bounce off whenever there's a warning. But these things have consequences. And for this guy to do this now, he's been around since 2016. That approaches around 8-9 years now. And we've been doing this silly song and dance forever.
Now in defense of bleach, some people into bleached assholes. I don't know if that's the way they did it. I don't know if they did it that way, man. Maybe it's intravenously. I don't know. But what's the deal with bleached asshole? I don't know.
I don't know either.
But some people do that.
I mean,
Trump was on that
too
podium.
far, maybe.
He was on that podium, literally freestyling, thinking out loud when the microphones are on and the press is in front of him. Like, how do you do that as a president? Maybe you can have that moment in private and talk to the scientists, but you don't just get on a podium and start just saying anything. And he does that. And again, no political punishment for that at all. And this guy is actually running right now for presidency, and we are contemplating that he's a actual viable choice. This is where we're at. So all this stuff that Trevor is talking about and people in the chat talking about is absolute moronic ridiculousness. Again, there was a coup that was attempted, and they failed miserably. But what if they didn't fail? Where would we be at right now? And when you talk about bringing him into power, after all those red flags, you're going to bring him into power, and now you got Project 2025. The Supreme Court has already added more powers onto the presidency for no reason. Nobody asked for this except for him. This is Nixon type stuff. I mean, come on, man. I just wanted to get that out there. It's just ridiculous. Everything is questioned. You can't say anything without a Trump supporter or a Trump troll just going along with each and everything. Actual facts, like Donald Trump talked about getting rid of parts of the Constitution. I told the Trump supporter this. They're like, I've never heard that. Donald Trump is on his own social media platform saying about how he wants to get rid of the Constitution, and they won't believe that. It's just, where does it end? Where does it end?
Yeah. Yeah, that's what it is, man. Just this Sunday, he was on with Maria Bartiromo and saying the whole thing about the tariffs. Now all of a sudden, oh, that was just figurative speech, huh? Your whole campaign has been revolving around tariffs, making the economy great. And when she asked you about it, now it's a figure of speech. I don't know what to believe no more.
Yeah. It doesn't. It seems like nothing matters unless it's the opposition. So everything all ducks have to be in a row. All things have to add up perfectly for the opposition. And meanwhile, he gets to frail around bathing in ignorance. And that somehow is going to fly. That doesn't make any sense. You can't go on for much longer. Some of these bastards, they're getting their day in court and they're losing badly, as we saw in the first lame duck number 59. There are more to come, and there's some that have already been handled. But it's not coming quick enough because, and I'm glad what the judge did. He outright said it. I'm making an example for people that want to follow your way. And that's true. It got to come to a point where people got to be a little bit more responsible. Politics is not a game. The laugh that you're getting now, thinking, "Oh, I'm owning the libs," or "I'm getting this," or whatnot. You look back at after these presidencies have ended, and you see the problems that happen, and all you're doing is working yourself out of wages, out of rights, out of everything that makes being in the country great, but never great if you're doing stupid crap like this, like just allowing mediocrity to flourish like this. I saw on CNN, I just saw a headline 1 hour ago. It says that what's the name? Geraldo Rivera, he just endorsed Kamala Harris, and he's a big Trump supporter. That's kind of shocking to me. I wonder if it's because of that.
Geraldo, yeah, I saw that. Actually, he actually announced it earlier. He was doing an interview with somebody. I think it was on News Nation. So he's upset about the perception of how a lot of Latin American people are getting viewed under the Trump campaign now. He's pissed off about that.
Oh, now he is.
Yeah,
Not when he was clowning blacks and Mexicans and whatnot.
Hey, it's Geraldo, man. I don't take him serious.
It's funny. It's funny. People really trip me out. Like a problem is never a problem until it becomes their problem, but always it's too late for them.
And hell, he a faux Hispanic at that.
Ricardo, you were saying?
No, I said, do keep in mind there are black Mexicans, by the way. You know, where's is it?
Well, according to MD, they're not black, sir.
Correct.
Let's tighten up on that one, Ricardo. We got to tighten up.
Yeah. Get your wording right, Ricardo. Afro Latino is the correct term.
Mexicans.
All right, so it's about time to close up the show. So we're going to go ahead and give our final sign-offs. So, Ricardo, what's your final sign-off for tonight, sir?
Yeah, great show. There's a lot going on, and it's coming down to the wire. We have like 3 weeks left, but there's a lot of discontent here and there, and I feel it's just the fringes of the MAGA crowd that want to say their pieces and create discourse and whatnot. But I doubt it's going to work. I've made this prediction from the beginning of when Kamala came into play, where I said it's going to come down to the wire. It's going to be very extra close. I think she's going to pull the extra win out of it. It looks very, scary at this point for them because, again, we knew that she was in a honeymoon period, but this honeymoon is now over. It's clearly showing in the polls, but they have to now start running on the issues that people want to hear about, whether it be immigration, whether it be women's rights, whether it be the economy. Whatever it is, they need to keep at it and not do what we did and not visit these states that are swing states. Visit all 7 of them down to the very last minute. Whatever that campaign is, you do it too. So if you want to beat them, beat their own game. So I'll say this with the best intent, even though Trevor wanted to open it. When you vote, but vote for what is the most interesting. That trickles in and goes upwards to the presidential vote, but I want y'all to vote on what your jurisdictions and the issues that affect you, whether it be marijuana, whether it be abortion, whether it be immigrants, whether it be whatever, vote, and with the intent of knowing what you're voting for, do your homework, right to vote. I'm going to force people to choose what not, but the candidates made it very clear as for what their positions are. And do keep in mind there's a hidden agenda between both parties, but one of them is clear cut in what is called a Project 2025 project outlinement. Read it if you have time. MD has done it on his show. You have ample time to read it and you understand why going forward everything is so scary and why it's not like hidden in plain view. It's like literally right there. Keep up on your current affairs. It's going to be going down. Still waiting to see what's going to be the retaliation for Iran forward and how Russia's going to respond to that and everything else in between. We still have Ukraine and we still have Israel still doing their nonsense. And no matter what anybody says, I'm going to still call out the yes when I see the agenda. And all in all, great show. Look forward to the next show and we'll see you at that. Great having you back, Mary.
All right, thanks, Ricardo. MD, final sign off, sir.
Yeah, can you hear me? Am I breaking up?
Oh, we can hear you fine. Yeah.
Okay, all right, yeah, because it's saying low connection. Hey man, look, 20 days left. We coming down from third base, man. We headed home. It's all or nothing now, folks. It's either you in or you out. Ain't no fence straddling at this point. That's why this show was so important. Ain't no fence straddling in regards to what your issues are. I don't give a damn what Obama said. You know what I'm saying? I don't care what your one issue is. It's either you all in or you all ain't. Hey, look, I think Trump is running out of gas from a campaign standpoint. This man yesterday had a town hall in Pennsylvania.
Oh yeah, I got it too.
He literally was just standing there, bobbing and doing the Trump dance for almost 40 minutes.
Yep.
People were falling out from exhaustion. But this is bizarre.
He's supposed to address the issues, and he just listened to music.
He answered maybe 3 or 4 questions. That was it.
YMCA.
And that's what he went to.
Yeah.
Hey, this is insanity, folks. You want to know who I'm voting for? Not that guy. And you can't tell me why you are voting. You can't tell anything you say. I'll easily debunk it. Anything. There is no issue that is brought forth toward a specific demographic when it comes to Trump. Not even white folk. That's a whole fact. Nobody's able to articulate the reasons why. Hey, you're an American at the end of the day. I can't tell you who to vote for. That I totally agree with you with. But you can't give me a clear-cut reason as to why you're doing this with Trump. This is insanity in full force, folks. This man just canceled a one-on-one sit-down with CNBC, a right-leaning platform. Why? Because he ain't got nothing for you right now. It's over with. He done ran out of gas. It's either you vote for him or you don't. That's where he at with it now.
He also ran away from 60 Minutes.
Ran away from 60 Minutes. Kamala went on 60. Now, speaking of Kamala will be on Fox News tomorrow night, 6 o'clock. I kind of wish we didn't have to do Wrestle With, because that's going to be must-see TV with Brett Baer.
Yep.
And then you hear about that, then you cuss out Brett Baer because he's doing that interview. This man is crazy. This man is crazy. Hey, Venkat, I don't know what happened yesterday in Jupiter, Florida, but I needed you to go down there stat to see why people was on boats with swastikas and Hitlers and doing all that on the water. This is do or die, folks. This is do or die. And so that's what we're living in. Hey man, go if you're able to vote early. Just go and get it on out the way, man.
I already voted.
Come November 6th, either that or get your handbasket ready. Because we're going to hell either way. And with that, I say peace.
Hey, bro, come on now, dog. Come on, man.
All right. I'd like to thank everybody for tuning in today at TFP. We'll be back next week with episode 55 and Lame Duck 61. Peace to Murr. Mike is right. Peace to Mr. Straight Talk. Everyone else in the chat. We'll see you guys next week, and we'll be back tomorrow for Wrestling with Reality, and it'll be the first part of the Vince McMahon series. The first 2 episodes we'll be reviewing for that Vince McMahon docu series on Netflix. So until then, we'll see you tomorrow. I believe it's 6:05. If not, it's 6:30 on this channel, Straight Talk with Trevor. For everyone else, have a great evening and stay safe.
Peace.
She just said a terrible thing. You know what she said? Shout it out, because I don't want to. Okay, you're not allowed to say, and I never expect to hear that from you again. She said, I never expect to hear that from you again. She said he's. That's terrible. Terrible.